How have y'all been?
I've been all right. Been an okay weekend.
Cool.
Can't complain too much. I
I
would,
took a
but you know. You took a dump?
I took a big nap yesterday.
Uh,
Not dump.
Not
I
even.
took a big dump just now. That's
Oh,
why I was late to the podcast.
Rhett, when's the last time you took a big dump? Just a big honk. Like you needed a nap afterward.
Never need a nap
I need
afterwards.
a shower sometimes.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
you need a showers
Oh. Just
afterwards
like
sometimes.
complete shotgun blast. Like you're lucky.
Oh,
You're lucky. There's a
Or-
toilet left.
Yep. You go out to the Walgreens at midnight to buy a new plunger.
Oh Lord.
Then you leave the plunger there, and you get home and you realize, where's my plunger? And then you
What?
call them and they go, you
Like,
left it here. And
you,
you walk back out to the Walgreens. Then you
this is the
walk.
least surprising story ever.
And
for
you walk back home and you're just carrying nothing but a plunger at midnight, walking down the road and it's snowing.
I think that happened. Like you clogged your toilet prior to the start of a podcast, and you had to sit there with it the whole time. And then
Afterward, yeah.
and then
It was late.
afterward, you had to run down to.
Oh my god.
That's incredible.
I've got a plunger now. I will never be without one again.
That's good. That's good. Everybody needs a good plunger. I feel is underestimated these
And a
days.
good plunging.
I feel that the value of a real good plunger just real
Yep.
underestimated.
It's real important.
Yeah.
I don't know if I meant that as like having sex. I don't know. Plunging?
Plunging.
Yeah, everybody needs a good spelunking. They just need to go caving.
Yeah. Jetstorm. It was a really good story to walk right into.
Yep.
John took the plunge. Yes, he did. He had to wait 4 hours though, because we were in the middle of a podcast. So that big old doopy he had to take beforehand.
Yep.
Just sitting there. He was just sitting up there, and it was looking at him like, "What's up? I'm
Last
here.
time-
I'm swimming."
Last time I went caving, it was with my dad, and we took the advanced course, not realizing it was actually going to be advanced.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah. And then it was 6 hours long, and about halfway through, Dad got stuck. And then was like, no, I cannot progress further through this way. And the guy was like, no, you can make it. Just squeeze through. And he said, no, I literally cannot. It was like 10 minutes of that, and I was like, Dad, what should I do? And he's just like, just go on ahead.
Go
I said,
on ahead. Go
are you
without
gonna-
me.
Are you going to be all right, Dad? And he said, well, no, but there's not really anything you can do here.
I mean, I'm stuck in a cave, but.
And then they
This
walked
is
him
your
out, and
moment of victory.
there was immediately a clear path right around that thing that they weren't telling him about.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Yep. And it was all okay.
We look back on it and laugh now.
Oh, I do. Yes,
Yeah,
we laughed.
yeah.
We were laughing the day of. We were
Yeah,
very.
like
That was very funny.
in the moment, like it would obviously suck, right? But like afterward, just like even immediately afterward, just like, fuck, man, that was real good.
I mean, I was kind of appreciating the comedy of it in the moment of just like laying there. There's a cave wall, cave ceiling an inch above my face, and I'm just like, Dad, are you gonna be okay? Well, I'm just like, all right.
The Jetstorm wants to know, was this like a Winnie the Pooh stuck in rabbit's hole thing? And yeah, that
No,
question sounded better in his head.
No, I totally get what you mean. It was they had one of those, and he did almost get stuck in that, but this was a flat floor, flat ceiling. They were just very close. Very close.
Oh, God. And Beepner with the quality follow-up. They only talk about knots in that bit, too. Knots. Y'all. Knots. You
Like
know
the
what
furry sex thing.
Yes! Like a
Oh,
dog
jeez.
penis.
I'm just trying to figure out the joke.
It's knotted. It's
Oh,
animals.
Winnie the Pooh stuck in
Animals.
Rabbit's hole. I get it.
Rabbit's hole.
Oh!
Rabbit's hole. Rabbit's hole.
Do bears have knots?
This
I
podcast is
don't
canceled.
know. Do bears?
You're all canceled.
Let's Google it.
We've all been canceled with cancel culture has finally caught the Sockscast, which means we don't have to do episode 100 in a few weeks.
Let's see here.
Polly, you actually linked to twitter.com/polyhead instead of twitch.tv polyhead.
I hate myself.
I
I
think
hate
that's just a
myself.
dog
I
thing.
did it. You know what I mean? You know what? Screw it. I'll do it again. I'll do it right now. I will live tweet on a podcast, and everybody's going to hear it. Are you ready? Listen to this keyboard action.
We haven't even done the intro yet, technically. We're still in the pre-show.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about knots. Once we get into the actual thing, it'll be completely clean.
Oh Lord, shit happened.
That's a lot of characters.
That's a lot of characters. You know, you gotta.
There it is.
You gotta clarify things. Like my home column is just not showing up at all in TweetDeck. So
that's so weird.
Yep. So I'm just gonna close it and say, "Fuck you, TweetDeck. I don't need your bullshit."
It's working for me. That's weird.
It is. It is. All right. Good. And
he was
hey,
tweeting.
Polly.
Good fucking follow-up, John. Good fucking bit.
Hey, Polly. This is my podcast this week.
Yep. Good. All right. You can have it.
Because I'm in control of my fucking destiny. It is my life. This is my world to command and my future. And I feel very content with that. So I'm taking care of the podcast this week. Don't worry about it.
All right. You do that.
Okay.
Steering the
All
ship
you.
of this podcast, just like I steer the ship of my own life.
You are fully in control. Nothing can stop you now. Just like all of those Trent Reznor songs that utilize that same lyric, nothing can stop you now.
Exactly. That's exactly the right comparison. I feel just like Trent Reznor in those songs.
Yes.
Let's see. So, how have y'all been? I know we talked a little bit before the podcast, but just how are things going?
It's
How things going for
you? It's a Sunday. I'm in podcast mode. I'm putting images on the screen. I'm making people laugh. We're talking into microphones. That's, get together and do these every couple weeks. Feels good. How you doing, friends?
I'm doing real well. Rhett, how are you? You don't ask questions though. This is this is my podcast right
It's
now.
John's podcast.
I'll take care of it. Don't worry. Rhett, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Go into detail. How have things been this week?
The usual. I mean, Friday actually kind of sucked, so
There you
it's a
go.
little stressful at work, but overall recovered and doing good now.
Doesn't it feel good to get that out there?
Yeah.
Cool.
Good.
You're both great. I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you for the host.
Oh, there's a good fart noise there.
That's good. Nice juicy one going on there. I think people are just going to enjoy that as part of the regular cast now. Like, those go through on the recording. I don't edit them out.
I think I'll permit it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you did, because now that it's your podcast and you own it.
I know.
You run the
Well,
show.
I'm
You can
doing
literally,
great.
you can literally do anything you want.
I spent about 3 hours today assembling new furniture. Just one piece of furniture. I got a table so I could finally have a space to eat.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm putting it right by the window. It's at window height, so I can look out the window while I eat breakfast or whatever.
Our little
No
John
more
Dyer's
eating on the
entering
floor.
adulthood.
No more eating on the couch. No more eating in the bedroom, and then spilling salsa all over the carpet.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a rough time.
You have a nasty habit of spilling things, because there was an incident at work not too long ago that I remember of you basically, what was it, coffee?
No, it was just plain white.
Oh, just plain
sugar.
white powdered sugar, which can just give you an
Right.
entire infestation of ants.
Just about a pound of sugar I dropped on the ground, and then we just moved into this brand new newly furnished office, and nobody knew how to call someone with a vacuum yet. So I was just like, how do I get rid of
We weren't
this?
trained in maintenance protocol yet.
Oh, so I bothered to call people for like an hour trying to figure out a way, and I was like, I know, I'll just clean it.
It took an hour for you to reach that conclusion.
Well, yeah, but I didn't have a vacuum, Polly. How are you going to clean a pound of loose sugar off of the carpet, Polly? What's your
Hey.
method?
Well,
Hey,
I will tell you this.
Polly.
I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you this much. Okay, Rhett.
Rhett, I'll permit it.
Polly is very good at licking carpet.
Ha!
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
That was a good interruption.
That was a very good.
All right. Rhett, you.
John, I will tell you this.
Okay.
If I had an incident in which I spilled a pound of loose white sugar all over the place,
I'll say what you wouldn't do. Say what you would do.
It would not take me 1 hour to be like, okay, there's not a vacuum cleaner in my immediate vicinity. I probably know where I can procure one. And I would then go do that. It wouldn't take me an hour to arrive at that conclusion.
Would you just go buy a vacuum cleaner?
No, I have one at home.
Home is 45 minutes away. I can't take an hour.
Literally somebody in that office you work with literally does not live 45 minutes away and could probably drive to their place very quickly and grab a vacuum cleaner. I will guarantee it.
That would have been true in the old office. This is in the middle of the loop. It'd be a little difficult to live right near there. I think the CEO lives right near there.
Okay, call the CEO.
Oh, Jesus.
Call the CEO and ask for a vacuum so that he can I know
you're the CEO and you're very busy, but could you come down here with your vacuum cleaner and clean up some shit that we kind of made
I'll
happen?
take care of it. I just need the vacuum. Okay, so I did pour a bunch of water on it and then soak up the water.
It's kind of gonna do it. I still think you're gonna have issues though.
I did, I poured a bunch of hot water out of the kettle with soap mixed in, and I did that over and over for like 20 minutes, for like a half hour.
You're probably good then.
Oh, I'm just like, okay, now there's soap and water on the floor.
And it is carpet. It was carpet, again, to be clear. If it wasn't carpet, that would be fine. But it was carpet. And when it did dry, I did check the next day, and it was slightly crusty in texture compared to
and the flooring under it got nice and wet. I'm sure that's going to lead to future issues.
The company can handle it. It's fine. I did buy some vinegar. I was just like, maybe white vinegar. Maybe if I just pour this on there.
No.
Is this like an ongoing project at work now?
No,
just like trying to fix this strip of carpet.
It's been like a month and a half. It's underneath where my cabinet usually goes. So I just kind of pushed the cabinet over it.
Oh, okay. So we'll hide this
out of sight,
and it won't be your problem years from now.
Exactly.
Thank you, Garden of the Dead, for the subscription.
I hope I keep that desk. It's a very nice desk. I got a very good view.
Try mushing peanut butter into it. That's.
I think white vinegar would help. I think if I poured a little bit of white vinegar on there and then soaked back up, that would help in some way, right?
Grab you a butter knife, put some peanut butter on it, pour a soda on top of that. That'll probably help you out.
Okay, do you have bubble gum?
Yeah.
Bubble gum in there and some scissors.
Sorry, Dad. I know it's Father's Day, but I'm doing a podcast.
Oh, damn! Just blew his dad off for the podcast. Hey, Dad. If you want to hang, if you really care, I got a podcast going. Link it.
Perfect.
And then I'll put the magnificent picture we have of him up again, just to make him feel welcome.
And then, so about 4 hours later, a guy did come with a vacuum and say, "So I heard that there was a sugar mess here." And I was like, "Oh, don't worry, friend. I took care of that.
Don't worry. John Thayer, the sugar mess master, has this."
And the other, and like my boss's wife was there because she was the one that had heard me say that and called the person. She says like, "How did you take care of that?" And I was like, "Well, I poured water on and then soaked it up." She's like, "Why would you do that?" And I was like, "I'm just trying my best here."
So did they ever vacuum?
They just kind of. They did do the little vacuum over it, but it didn't do anything because the damage was done.
Yeah, the damage to that carpeting is done.
There was no visible sugar. I had cleansed it of that. It was the. I feel like it's basically the same as if I'd spilled a Coke on the floor, right? It's probably basically the same.
You made it to that point, yeah.
Yeah, you exacerbated the situation to that point. Yes.
But if I just spilled a Coke on the floor, I wouldn't be like angsting about it. It would have been fine. It's just the fact that I kind of...
You made a mess and then made it worse and then kept making it worse. And now it's still a problem and it's still probably going to be an issue. It's not a problem.
There's no bugs. It's just...
It'll be... Look, you got the flooring wet. That's likely going to cause issues. Maybe not in the time of your tenure there for this employment, but I guarantee that spot of the floor is going to be real wonky in the future.
Worst case scenario, it like breaks, and then my desk falls into the floor underneath me, and then people get really mad, and then I get fired.
And Taylor's got a point. You live in Chicago. There's bound to be rats.
What, the rats are gonna come up there and eat the like tiny residual bits of sugar particles left in the car? That doesn't make any sense.
Rats love sweet things. So
yes. They'll come and lick the carpet underneath my. They
lick all over that carpet.
Also, ants can't even get up that high. It's 40 stories up. It's fine.
I like how this is the podcast. John takes over and he's still on the defensive somehow.
I love it.
So that's my desk. This is my path that I'm walking, and I walk it proudly.
I walk a lonely road, the only one
thing.
that I have ever known.
There have been times last year where I looped that, just like, oh. I think I listened to that unironically a couple times the year before last.
Look, American Idiot is a good album, okay?
Yeah,
I'm tired of people saying that it's not.
It's no Blink-182. They're no Blink-182, but they're fine.
I'm
kidding.
I would hope so.
I'm very kidding.
Because as much as I really don't care that much for Modern Green Day, Post-Modern Idiot, at least they're not Blink-182. I would at least give a new Green Day album a shot.
Fucking... Whatever. Fine.
Okay.
We're 50-year-old men still singing about being teenagers. We never got over it. We're Blink-182.
And the music's not good, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's very... Even though they got a member from Alkaline Trio now, who is really good, yeah, the Blink-182's still not good.
Yep. They're not. Sonic Adventure 2 music is better.
I would agree.
Yep.
Does Blink-182 have a song about Eggman? I don't fucking think so.
And does he have the master plan? Rhett!
Hi.
What have you been up to?
Well, you guys pretty much know everything I've been up to, but I'll just do it for the audience.
Well, you see, Rhett, this is a podcast.
Yeah, I know.
We're ostensibly involving other people here.
So, I actually thought I'd kind of finish up and recap some of the stuff I was talking about last week. So first up was Subnautica, the base building underwater game.
That game you hated that one, right?
Yeah, I liked it. What do you?
I know, I'm kidding.
It's John's podcast. You got to roll with whatever he says.
You got to roll whatever he says. So you know the Tetris effect, that thing where you play a game a whole lot and then it starts to get kind of in your head a bit.
Uh-huh.
So I had a weird one with Subnautica where, because I played that, was it 2 weeks ago now? All Saturday and then all Sunday, and basically only stopping for the podcast.
Those are good weekends.
So the whole thing about that game, though, is you start off, you build your base pretty shallow underwater, and then as you get deeper and deeper, it's well, I should probably build another base down here so I'm not having to take 6 minutes to swim up and down constantly. But when you have a base that's underwater and so far from the surface that you're not going back up for air ever, it's really claustrophobic, basically. And because I'd spent this weekend kind of in my room in the dark, the Tetris effect kicked in, and it was giving me the impression that the outside world was just water that I couldn't venture into. and that was weird. Just yes, it's just me and my air conditioning here. Without this, I would drown.
Yeah.
The hum of that thing just kind of replicating that feeling of relying on technology
relying
in this
on
underwater.
Technology and being totally isolated from everything.
Exactly.
The only thing protecting you from the inhospitable outside world.
Pretty much, yeah. So that was a fun night.
I didn't leave my house today all Saturday, so that was nice.
That's the best.
I get you.
So I wish that game went a little literally deeper than it does, because it gets so good at the very end, where it's just for the most of that game I kind of ignored the enemies, and then towards the end shit in the very bottom is hostile as hell to you. And you know what your submarine is? It's a big tasty snack.
Yeah, so that's good. Looks like a big gumball to them.
Most enemies don't give a shit about you, and then you run that submarine through the end game areas, and they're They go at you, buddy.
Do they just like bang the shit out of you, like, and you get like really cool internal vibrations from that to be like real atmospheric and shit? Because that would be cool.
Oh yeah, you get all that. You get like messages like submarine under attack, like alien attack, and like fires will start in the submarine and like hull breaches, like, so you can run around with a little fire extinguisher to put all the fires out if that happens, or you may have to get out and just use your repair tool to repair the hull from the outside. And the whole thing can be destroyed, which I was not going to let happen because all my shit was on there and I'd basically be starting the game over.
Yeah, that would be bad.
So that happened, and I was just like, okay, reload save, because that can't happen. But yeah, one of those moments where I'm just being attacked and like just desperately trying to survive. It's like, because all my shit is in there. It's like, man, like I'm so deep in the simulation now. Like I've never really gotten into real kind of tactical simulation stuff. It's just like I'm feeling it right now in this moment, and that's real cool. Of just that terror of being so deep underwater.
It definitely sounds like that game sealed the deal in a way that I wasn't personally expecting it to, but I'm happy to hear that it did.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
The other thing is, I told Polly the story earlier, but I did not realize how energy worked in that game until like basically the very, very end.
This is a real good one. Go ahead, tell this one. This is so good.
So when you build a base and it has no power at the start, so it's just like it won't generate oxygen, which is pretty important.
Probably, yeah.
So when you build, like, the basic power is solar power. So when you build that, it says, oh, the space has 1 out of 250 energy, and as the sun hits it, that number goes up. And like it's never exactly clear what drains power, because then you can build like a scanner room, and I think that will start to use a little more power and other things.
Okay.
And then so a lot of your handheld technology is charged with batteries, and you can build an item that's a battery charger, and you put that in your base and you put your batteries in there and they'll recharge. And then you get the submarine, and the submarine, it runs on like power cells, like a more advanced form of the batteries. So I built a power cell recharger in the submarine. So it's powered by 6 power cells, and then every once in a while I would take one out, put it in the recharger, it would fill back up, and I would put it back where it was. And it's like, okay, I've created infinite energy loop. What I didn't realize is that energy is very linear and like 1-to-1. So that every time I was recharging a battery, it was just taking that energy from the other batteries. So I kept doing this loop, and it kept getting shorter and shorter, basically.
Oh, weird.
Weird. But so what really happened was I upgraded the submarine with a bunch of new stuff that started draining way more power.
Mm-hmm.
And because of these batteries were, constantly overworked by just charging each other over and over, all of a sudden I found myself at 0. And that was when it dawned on me how this all worked. So I unload the empty batteries and go to one of my bases, and it's like, this base has 450 power, and I plug one of the power cells in, and that number starts going down. And I'm just like, oh, yeah.
There's a real big fuck difference between not understanding Trails in the Sky's magic system for 2.5 games and you not understanding how power cycling works for an entire fucking game.
I underestimated the game.
It's just so funny because it's just like real, like a real life thing. Oh, if I just charge these batteries with the other batteries. And then...
the logic is so sound in the moment.
Because it's because the power isn't always shown to you. Like, because there's other upgrades. Like when you bring like your little scooter onto the submarine, it charges it. Mm-hmm. So you just, I don't know, video games, you just think, oh, it's just free energy. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, that energy is always... What I've realized about that game is the energy is always coming from somewhere.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, like, the batteries were also then having to charge my little scooter every once in a while. And it's like, that's draining energy, and it's always 1-to-1.
You were thinking video game. You were thinking this energy.
I was thinking it was
coming somewhere. It's just coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
The principle of equivalent exchange.
I thought it was a video game. It turned out to be way more simulation than I expected.
Yep.
It's like okay, the game is smarter than I gave it credit for.
Is it really that fucking smart though to think, I'm transferring power from one unit to another? Is that really so complicated?
Well, I mean, I knew it was dumb. I was like, I've made infinite energy.
Well, it's different from it's contrast with like Minecraft, where you put 2 buckets of water into a 4 square hole, and then you have infinite water.
Yeah.
And then you break it open, and there's infinite waterfall now. Like I can understand expecting something, a little bit simpler.
Because eventually you can basically get infinite energy if you just build you can build a thermal reactor in kind of the hot areas of the water.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then that will just never run out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I started charging my power cells afterwards. It's like, okay.
Pay off your credit card with another credit card. Free money.
Yeah, exactly. This works on this is what we call the RET principle.
That game's real good, and it has an ending.
Which is good. I'm very happy that game has an ending.
There's one real bullshit fetch quest right at the end where it's basically you have to get 5 of an item you've never had to use for anything else in the entire game.
Oh, good.
And that's real weird, and it really kind of fucks with the pacing right at the end, but not a huge deal.
Mm.
But
gotta get the 5 artifacts. Then you can fight Meta Ridley.
It's kind of like that, but then I don't want to. Yeah, it's like they don't make it difficult in any way. It's just busy work, basically.
Bummer.
But it's such a weird thing to put right at the end.
Because
my one kind of complaint with the ending, I think, is that it didn't quite go the way I expected, and I think a lot of the optional lore you can find throughout the game kind of doesn't end up mattering because it just tells you exactly what to do.
Gotcha.
And just gives you here's the thing you need. You found it. It was at the very bottom. Imagine that.
But that didn't put any kind of a real big damp towel on.
No, definitely not.
Like what the rest of the game was, though. So I think that's still really cool.
Yeah. And then so there was that anime, the Tonegawa, the Kaiji spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I believe I reported last week that they were making a different spin-off of that show. I think I was just repeating a news story that was also kind of seeded and not entirely true. Because basically, episodes 13 and 14 of that show are the other spin-off.
Oh.
Because basically, yeah. So basically, once it hits the second season, episodes 13 through 24 or whatever, it kind of becomes a dual protagonist show. And so that's who the other guy, how he works in.
Becomes Yakuza.
Oh, jeez.
Yakuza.
Sure. So that show's weird because the main plot just ends at episode 13, and then it's just a really weird random comedy, and then with this other guy introduced.
You ever see Dual Parallel Worlds? That show does that too, where the main plot wraps up in 13 episodes, but there's still 5 episodes left, and it's just comedy,
weird.
Dumb bullshit.
Huh. This is exactly that, except it's 12 episodes more.
Oh, God, yeah, this is yeah.
There was one episode, though, that made me cackle like John.
Oh, no.
Because it is a not funny at all episode that spends 12 minutes building up to one joke.
That's admirable. That's admirable, but your jokes gotta work if you're gonna spend 12 minutes building.
But it landed so hard for me, but I realized what they were doing and then they did it. I had a good laugh. So that show's all right. It's very silly though, because it just doesn't care anymore. Basically, with they do one of the later episodes is just a setup for character A for 12 minutes, then a setup for character B for 12 minutes, and then it goes to be continued, and then the next episode is just the payoffs to both those arcs. It's just this could have just been A part 1 and part 2, then B part 1 and part 2, but you had to spread both of them over 2 episodes for no real reason, and just it's a weird show.
Definitely.
Oh, and one other quick thing, speaking of gambling anime, because Tonegawa is related to Kaiji, Kakaguri season 2 is up on Netflix. and no one here knows what that is.
I'm doing cartwheels in the room right now. You just can't tell.
Is that the corny one with the lady that I forwarded you?
That's exactly it.
Oh, very good.
The show is absolute trash that I can't fucking stop watching. It's so fun.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the one where I've just watched the theme song, but it comes up on the timeline frequently because it's very good.
The opening of season 2 is not nearly as good, I'm sad to say.
Ah, bummer.
The opening of season 1 is like an all-time great.
What's the name of the show one more time? Kagekiri?
It's really, I don't know how exactly to say. Kakegurue. I can't even spell it. Yeah, someone in chat said it. Kakegurui.
There it is.
There you go. You nailed it.
It's basically every girl in the show is Celeste from Danganronpa 1.
Oh, that's good because she is a really good character.
But they're just all so horny to gamble. That's literally the show.
There we go. I found the opening.
For gambling.
Like season 1 or season 2 just starts with them sticking their fingers into this thing that has a guillotine, and like,
oh my god,
they just cut random strings, and eventually the thing's gonna fall and cut all their fingers off. It's real stupid. Like, the show's not good, but it's entertaining.
I can get behind that kind of stupidity.
Yeah. Like, one of the girls is just like, oh my god, this is so hot, I'm gonna get off. Like, she's literally horny for gambling.
Jesus.
Such trash, but not the worst. It's not actually the worst trash I've ever.
It's not exploitative trash like some
like
other,
the incest
like a lot of other shit that you would get. Like, at least it's trash that you can look at. You know it's trash, but it's not like it's not going the route of being exploitative or punching down on anybody or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so, I can see that.
So I found out the show was had just been added to Netflix like 3 days ago. I'm like, oh, here we go. That's what I can do now. So, Polly, what have you been up to?
Yo,
hey.
Oh, wait.
Hey,
no,
now.
John actually gets to decide.
It's John's show now.
It's John's show.
I had one little thing I wanted to talk about with Rhett real quick.
Okay, go for it.
All right, cool. I finished The Place Further Than the Universe.
Oh, right. I was gonna make you bring that up if you didn't.
It's so nice. This is the show about the girls going to Antarctica.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just kind of like, this is the show about the girl that wants to go to Antarctica. The main character is trying to figure out what she wants from life, and then she meets another girl who desperately wants to go to Antarctica. And it's basically just this very weirdly grounded version of, like, what would it mean for 4 teens to decide that they really want to go to Antarctica. And they kind of follow it through, like, very, like, each, like, buying airplane tickets is one part, and then packing, that's halfway through the show, because there's all this build-up before that of
it
getting
takes
to that point. Yeah, they go really hard on, like, earning each stage of that, which is really cool, I think. It actually kind of reminded me a little bit of it felt like cinematic.
Yeah,
kind of
that was
like a
exactly
Hosoda movie.
The feeling. Yeah, I didn't know the exact name of the director. It kind of feels like, but yeah, that was the exact feeling I got of this. Feels like a movie. Like, especially I think episode 2, they have that chase through the city.
Yes.
I'm like, this is just a movie now that was cut into a TV show somehow.
It's real good, and the payoff's real nice. Like, it's just a good, nice thing. I really liked it.
Yeah, Polly, you should watch it.
Oh, yeah. I'll get right on it. Don't worry.
Don't try to know.
There's gotta be real easy ways for me to go out of my way for anime these days. And since like, and since like the Funimation shit happened, and like I don't have a subscription to that anymore. And I don't have a subscription to Netflix anymore, so shit's gotta be real easy and inexpensive for me to watch.
I'll make this real easy for you.
Okay.
Hit me up later.
I'll hit you up later. Yeah, I'm not going out of my way to do much for anime these days, mostly because I find myself let down, and I'm not going through a bunch of trouble for a letdown. So if somebody's gonna get me to watch an anime, you're going to provide it. Like, what happened to that one anime that I was orgasming about that is coming out in, like, is it this month or next? It was like, it looked like, you know,
Oh.
an actual show that's serious and has a point. It was like Space something.
Yeah, I think that's airing right now.
Oh.
I know which. It's like two girls playing music in space.
Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah, I think that's airing. So give it a few more.
I think I had it in my head that the Antarctica show was very cute girls doing cute things. The show, one of those, and then it was actually just like a nice little comedy drama thing. So I quite liked it. Everyone should go into it with like really sky high expectations. Just, like,
that's the worst part, though.
Think it's going to be like the most orgasmic, amazing thing ever, and then be sorely disappointed if it's not. All right, keep it snappy.
Tuesday. Carol and Tuesday, yeah. I think it is. Yeah.
We're past that.
What? Yo, what's up?
What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Well, I'm still playing Dragon Quest XI.
Still at it.
So last time when we were together, I had gotten to a point in that game just prior to starting the podcast where it was like, oh shit, this story just went nuclear. Holy crazy. What happened? Holy shit. Crazy. Wasn't expecting that from a Dragon Quest game. And this is sort of the part of the story where, like I said earlier, like in my earlier assessment, like I didn't feel like the characters were really coming together because they weren't really getting into their backgrounds or anything. But now they've set up kind of like the situation that I didn't completely spoil, but I did kind of spoil last time, where, you know, it's kind of like, oh, this is just ripe for characters to start having development or you learning about them. And so we get to that point, and I was like, that's where kind of like my interest in this game is going to hinge, as if they can pull this off well. And I feel that they're kind of getting like a solid 5 out of 10 on that. I've kind of like learned most there is to know about pretty much everyone in the party, and I feel that, man, why is it so tropey?
Oh no.
Why is, like, they've done one well, but in the course of doing that, they did something I didn't want them to do at all. And I can't spoil what that one is because it's a pretty big one.
Gotcha.
And it was just like, oh, well, there's my feels. There's all my feels. Thanks, video game. I appreciate that. And of course, we're rediscovering our powers as the Luminary, the chosen one that will save the world. And of course, the video game keeps getting canceled because we have to do other things to get. It's again that whole sequence of, hey, the bridge is out. Now, if we need, the tools are stuck up your ass somewhere. You better go up there and find them. Oh, we can't go up your ass because we don't have the magic school bus yet. So we need to go find the magic school bus and then go up your ass. Oh, and it's just, man, I don't hate this game,
but you felt the need to play a lot of distractions in the meantime.
Yeah, it's something like that. I don't fucking know, but it's just like, I know that like it's already been spoiled to hell and back for me that this game has a credits and then there's stuff after the credits, and I think once I see credits, this game is going away for a while. I don't care enough about these characters. I don't care enough about this story world or actually playing this game enough to want to play more. And I know that back half involves a lot of grinding. And I don't like interfacing with this game's combat enough to want to do any of the combat anymore. I'm so tired and bored of the combat, but I have to do it because the game's hard.
So wait, it's like the game ends, but then there's a real true ending after a bunch of grinding?
Yeah, like you go do the big thing, and then, like, yeah, there's, like, post-game stuff, but it's not really post-game stuff because it still involves part of the story, so why do you have a fucking credit sequence anyway, then?
It's Metal Gear Solid 5.
Ugh.
I was thinking Mario Odyssey.
I guess that's kind of different. I don't hate this game, and good on you if you like it, but man, the more I play this game, the more I realize that Dragon Quest is not for me. Like, this is... no. Like, even, like, when I still think that this game just does not compete with Dragon Quest VIII in terms of characterization and, like, a pacing that feels like, yeah, it's still long, but I don't feel like it's wasting my time in the same ways that Dragon Quest XI feels like it just wants to be the longest fucking game ever. and it has to draw every single thing. Like, the UI still just pisses me the fuck off, because I seriously don't need 7 text boxes to let me know I saved my game. The fucking, just shuffling items back and forth to make sure your characters are ready for battles and shit. It's so obnoxious. Somebody just subscribed and it made a fart noise, and that exactly describes kind of where I'm at. An anonymous gifter gifted that, actually. Thank you, anonymous gifter.
Huh.
But yeah, that was perfect timing on that Submarino. But yeah, like, I don't know. I know Dragon Quest isn't for me. I don't hate it. I still think that its presentation is top notch. I still say that they got their Kingdom Hearts people working on that game, because it's just, when that game goes like all out in terms of like enemy designs and really good cutscenes that are just like immaculately produced with just incredible detail. It's like, yeah, that game's going all out in the best possible way, but it's not going to be enough to make me care, because I think that the underlying story and characters are just boring paper.
You seemed to tweet something earlier today about, like, oh, you went there, game, huh?
Yeah, the game did a thing, and I wasn't expecting... Like, the game's done 2 things I didn't expect of a Dragon Quest game, and the second one was just like, oh, video game, you did that, and I wasn't expecting... I wasn't looking for that at all, and I'm not happy about that. That gave me a sad, you fucking video game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, like, good, like, and it has those little moments like that where I'm just like, oh, you got me interested. Like, I still love Sylvando. He's so amazing. You know, like, I still like the characters that I like, but, like, their payoffs just aren't very good, and it just, like, it's a very boring save the world story, and I just don't think the true power of friendship is like, is a trope that fucking works on me at all.
Gotcha.
Just like every Neptunia game.
Yeah, but, like, see, the thing is, Neptunia manages to do that while having character and charm. And, like, the charm that Dragon Quest XI has is mostly all in its visuals. Like, I don't really feel that, like, the dialogue's that snappy. I still don't
great soundtrack, right?
Oh, man, I have the game's music completely muted, and I just listen to albums or podcasts while playing that game.
Oof, God.
Even during the big climactic moments, I'm just listening to the new Rammstein album.
That's rough.
That's rough.
But hey, that actually worked out, because there was this one stretch of gameplay where, like, the new Rammstein album popped up on my playlist, and I was listening to it, and every fucking story beat matched with every song that was playing. There was even a transition during a boss fight that made it incredible. Going from one song to the next, and I was just, holy shit. Like, I wish I was recording my gameplay at that time so I could show how fucking beautiful it was. But yeah, like, the music, I have not listened to this game's music since like hour 15. So, and I'm like 42 hours into it now. God. So I just, yeah, like, I don't care about that game's music at all. Plus, it's made by a complete piece of trash.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
So yeah, like, and it's boring. Like, why is this guy's music so fucking, like what? It's boring. It's just boring classical shit. It's playing color the numbers by just coloring in the right numbers on this "are you making a classical piece of music" chart. It's like, yeah, I've heard this stuff before, way better, and probably by people that weren't big old pieces of trash. So yeah, I'll probably be finishing that soon. Like, I will probably have Dragon Quest XI, at least the first part, the first ending, I guess. I'll probably at least have that finished by next podcast, and then I'll probably just put the game down for a bit, because I'm, like, I play this when I'm just kind of like, I don't really want to do anything else. So
it's a podcast game.
It's a podcast game. It's just something I can do while listening to podcasts.
Jeez.
That's so damning. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's really bad. Honestly,
Back of the box quote
for
right
that
there.
Style of game. Like,
yep.
for me, podcast games were things like Binding of Isaac when you've played it hundreds of times and you don't need the sound.
Grinding on Final Fantasy 14 or something.
Yep.
Like that.
What would you know about grinding in Final Fantasy 14?
I wouldn't. Thank God.
Yeah. There's a new expansion out, right?
Yeah.
It's coming out. It comes out like the same day as Mario Maker.
Yeah, like everything's coming out on the 26th.
This month is about to be bonkers.
Like March
Mario
of
Maker's only
you
10
want to
days
talk
away?
bonkers? We'll talk bonkers coming up because March of next year is fucking nuts.
Yeah, but that's not now.
That's not now though. So yeah. Speaking of, I got one more thing I can drop in here.
That's right. The hero. I'm in Smash Brothers.
That's right. Rhett's in Smash Brothers.
Woo!
So yeah, another quick thing I've talked about this one all week. I even did a stream for it. The Contra Anniversary Collection just kind of dropped out of nowhere during Nintendo's E3 press conference. They just kind of threw that out there. It was just like, hey, here it is. Here's 10
I think
Contra
they were
games.
just like, yeah, this is the only way it will get any attention. And I think they were right.
They were probably right. And even then, it still didn't make it.
And even then, yeah.
It just kind of
I looked
buried.
and it was like number 19 on the eShop last night. And I'm like, well, it's not nothing.
I'm almost certain Castlevania did way better.
Aww.
I think just generally seeing the people's reactions to these announcements, Castlevania is way more popular.
Yeah.
That's been my experience listening to people. It's like that is the more kind of like I was starting to get a little bummed out about it. Just like, Contra's real good too.
I think Contra just never had its Symphony of the Night moment.
Yeah.
Contra only has the moment everybody wants it to have in that, Contra 1, it's literally impossible. Like, that's all Contra can be. In the modern fucking lexicon of video games, that is all Contra is allowed to be. Is Contra 1 is impossible. You can't beat it without the code.
Easiest one, too.
You can't beat it without the code, Rhett.
It's the
Literally
easiest
fucking
one.
impossible.
Those people played hardcore. They'd be like, what the fuck is this? Because I played hardcore, and I was like, oh my god, I lost to Sniper Joe or whatever his name is.
So, yeah, that Contra collection came out. There's a video on my on my YouTube. I did a fun stream for that. It ended up being a riot, especially towards the end.
I really enjoyed that. I got to watch a chunk of it. Did you say that the homing missile was the best weapon in Contra 3?
Oh, yeah, everybody loves the homing missile. It's the absolute best weapon.
It's the C missile.
I know, John. It's called using sarcasm.
I was about to say, the C is good.
The C is garbage. Like, the C is great. The H is garbage.
That's what I was so confused. I was like playing it today, just like, how did you think that the H was the good weapon? What the fuck? This thing sucks. Why would probably be this wrong about a Contra thing? I don't understand.
Well, it like a Contra 3 runner was in my chat that night. FCJ2000 on twitch.tv if you don't know him. And like I was just making a point of ribbing him the whole time I was playing Contra 3 because I think it's a trash game. It's a trash game for trash babies, basically.
But is there a point? There's never a point where the H is actually useful, is there?
No, never. But okay. The Contra.
It seemed better in the overhead stages. It seemed like it was dealing a little more damage there.
It'll do okay in the whole. Like if you have problems with those, but even then, like the larger enemies are going to pose a problem because they move fast, and like that thing doesn't kill fast enough.
No, it sure doesn't. Doesn't.
So the Contra Anniversary Collection, it is really pretty good. I mean, it's definitely, you're emulating, you're not getting 100% of the experience. There's going to be a minuscule amount of input lag. As a speedrunner of a few of these games, I did not find it all that distracting as a problem. The emulation is pretty solid. The only issues that I've really run into are Contra 1 Arcade. There seems to be way more slowdown there than... and somebody mentioned that, like, it's just because you're using rapid fire. It's like, no, I'm not. Literally, I'm not. This game just slows down really bad, and it's not there on the original hardware, nor does it slow down in the DS collection I have to the degree that Contra 1 slows down here. So that's like one of the emulation... That's one of the
DS collection with Arcade Contra?
I've played actual Arcade Contra. It was at a fair back in 1998.
Okay.
But you said on the DS.
Yeah, there's a DS Contra on the Konami Arcade Collection.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I actually saw somebody say that Contra Arcade was already on Switch. There's like an arcade archives release of it that doesn't have the slowdown.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully...
So for like that one game that isn't very good to begin with, though, so it's not really much of a loss.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played a bit of that. I'm like, wow, this is chugging.
Yeah, so like that's one of the major emulation gripes I have with it. The second one is Super Contra is missing all of the arcade games voice samples. So the intro is completely quiet. You don't get that really cool cutscene of, "What is this place? Keep your eyes peeled."
That's so weird.
But then, like, the alien still has its voice sample there, which is weird. So yeah, like they took all of that and like other than that, Super Contra is still 100. Like it doesn't chug at all. Like it plays completely fine.
Cool.
The NES games, the only thing I noticed was, and it's just because I speedrun it and I'm sensitive to it, I noticed the little bit of extra input delay in Contra and the Famicom version of Contra. Super C looks a little washed out to me. It looks way more gray. And those colors pop on the CRT that I have, that I would regularly play that game on. So
I guess I've never actually played the original of that. I've only ever emulated it. So
as soon as I dropped into the first stage of Super C, like I kind of had to pause and was just like, this looks real washed out and kind of bad. And some of the colors seem a little wrong. And I think a few of the sound effects aren't emulated properly either. But sound and emulation is really hard.
Yeah. I noticed in Super C the enemies, like the random fodder enemies in the very last stage, make a different sound than I'm used to. Yeah, but I'm like, is this more accurate or less accurate?
It's less accurate.
Interesting. It's kind of neat though. They kind of scream like an alien instead of just doing the regular death.
Like
it's weird.
Like it's supposed to be emulating a sound that they actually like. It's a different sound effect. Even in a non-emulated version, it's a different sound effect that the purple aliens make, but it's not emulated properly, so it kind of just sounds like a weird shrill squeal now, whereas it has like a really cool kind of like up and down little sound in the original.
I need to find a video of the NES playing that one.
The SNES and Genesis games are emulated pretty well. Like the only thing that they changed there was they added some seizure protection to some of the bosses that flash a lot or have rapid color cycling, which that's still a feature I wish you could turn off.
Yeah, because it's so cool in hardcore.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like, and to be fair, there's only like I think 3 bosses that are affected by it in hardcore, and it's just like that first robot, the
waterfall,
Red Falcon. And no, the waterfall boss is fine. And there's one other. Like I finished like rounding out all the achievements in that game last night. But yeah, there's like I only remember 3 bosses kind of having that. Yeah, the research center boss. So those 3 are the only ones that I remember kind of having that filter over them.
Issue.
It's not a big deal. It doesn't affect the gameplay. But I think the cool thing is that this thing comes with like a 75-page booklet. It's a digital booklet. That
is very cool.
And it's got all of this like concept shit from like concept to how things ended up in the game, and like it goes as deep as having dated graph maps of how stages are to be laid out and how many jump units your character has, and how, like and a guide to whoever's creating the levels as to like how many squares equal the jump arc. That way you're designing the stage properly. Like I think like the oldest one I saw was from like November 1987.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
But they do a deep dive in that little booklet through all of the games that are included with the collection though, and there's like a really great interview with current lead, who's basically been the director of the games since Contra 3, basically. So, like that in and of itself, to me as a Contra fan, was just like that is the easiest $20 I'll spend. You know,
nice.
Like you're getting really good. You're getting really good. You're getting a solidly packaged emulation of older games. They are going to be giving you the Mega Drive version of Contra Hardcore in a later update. There's something else they're patching in. And you can't remap controls would be my other
That's the
issue.
Worst part, though.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
You really feel it in games like Hardcore, where I am just not used to playing it that way.
Hardcore was the first game I loaded up, and I was just immediately like, what the fuck are these controls? Like, shoot is on the bottom and jump is on the right, and then, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So luckily, Hardcore has its own in-game character or controller swap.
Yeah.
So you can fix it a bit, but then...
It's still a little wonky, but you can't really quite get it where you want. And, if you're using a PC, Joy to Key won't work because the game picks up both. You can't just say I'm using a controller or I'm using a keyboard, so it doesn't really work that way. I've gotten better at it, obviously. But, you spend... I spent 10 hours with this thing doing all of the achievements and beating all the games every way imaginable. So,
It's going to be a bit for me. I'm like, okay... beat Super C on 2 credits.
Nice. Well, then you didn't really beat Super C, did you?
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say
let's be honest.
Didn't really
here.
beat Super C.
Didn't really.
No, I said 2 credits. I'm working on the 1 credit. Jesus
Christ.
Well,
I'm just saying you're laying claim to a pretty lofty title of saying that you beat a game and you didn't do it on 1 credit. I'm not going to allow that. Not on John's podcast.
I did Contra 1 and Super C a little bit ago, so now I'm kind of sampling Contra 3, and then I also have Operation C in the thing, and then I get to try to do every route in Hardcore, and that'll be the big one.
Yeah, so
that's exciting.
It's fun.
What's
yeah,
fun?
I haven't really played a whole lot of Operation C, so you play that in this collection, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a really good Contra game.
It really is.
Right. And then you jump immediately to Hardcore, and it feels so fast.
Oh, God, yeah, yeah.
Going specifically from those 2 between each other, basically the slowest one and the fastest one.
Yeah.
It's oh, God. Oh, God.
That's whiplash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Even going, from Operation C to Contra 3 would just be, a fucking trip. Because Contra 3 is really fast, too.
Yeah. That is the neat thing with Contra 3, though, is that it is sort of the missing link between... Super C, Operation C, and Hardcore.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm playing it, and I'm like, I vibe with it. Contra 3 had to walk so that Hardcore could run.
There you go.
Contra 3 isn't bad, it's the overhead stages that are bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my problem with Contra 3, and it's always been my problem with Contra 3. It's I hate a third of the game.
Yeah.
There's 6 stages.
The second overhead is so rough.
Oh, God, the second overhead stage is literally the worst crappy crap that ever crapped out of a butt crap.
But stage 3 is so good.
The stage 3 is amazing.
Stage 3 is an all-time best.
It's for
it's
me that is probably my favorite Contra stage of all time. In my least favorite Contra game. And then
except for that bit in the middle where you climb the wall for 30 seconds.
Yeah, but even that's still that is a cool ass set piece. It's the first time you get to it.
Yeah,
they did a version of this on Game Boy Advance. Oh boy, it's rough.
Oh boy,
they took out the overhead stages and then they put in 2 stages from Hardcore that don't really work at all.
And they took out no slide.
Yeah, no slide. No slide.
In the collection.
It's so weird. Yeah, add that to the collection.
Yeah, I spent about probably an hour today kind of drilling stage 4 a bit. And it was cool kind of seeing a lot of those things okay, I can actually get past this. Things that seemed really rough at first. And then there's little things like the wibbly wobbly tube under the ship that was just oh boy, this is...
Just stay to the right.
Just stay to the right?
Yeah, if you just stay to the right, it'll blow itself up and that's all you gotta do. Just hang on to the right, it'll wiggle, and when the first part of its wiggler goes off screen, the whole thing just explodes for some reason.
Okay, so I don't have to
you ain't gotta do anything about that. You can just stay to the right, you're good.
Alright, the other thing was the when they all are coming down, all the enemies are coming down from the bottom of the ship and you have to kill the dark one instead of the red ones.
Yeah, that part's rough because that guy is real wiry, and the only way you get out of that segment is killing the darker enemy. So it's rough. You'll get it though. You'll get it.
I'll get it. I'll learn it. And then now I'm drilling a bit of stage 6 because I don't want to drill stage 5 yet because I hate it. It's even the stage is fine. It's just that boss at the end where everything. I felt like I could manage everything until the boss turned on the.
It starts spinning the sound. It starts spinning the sand, and you can fight back against that using double taps of L and R. But I bet most people don't know that. Is if you go on
double taps?
Yeah, if you double tap, you spin faster, so you can actually counter.
Oh.
You can actually counter spin.
Okay, that's useful to know. I thought you could only just turn left and right.
No,
that.
If you double tap it,
All
you'll do a way faster spin, and it'll let you kind of like. But you have to kind of like be locked in just right, so that the way you're spinning is still pointed at the boss, so you can hit it. So it's still a fucking pain in the ass.
I think you're blowing everyone's mind with this info, though. That's possible.
What? They didn't know about the double tap?
I didn't know about.
I didn't know about the double tap.
Well, there you go. You can double tap.
I don't think Beepner did either.
Did you see those clips I was retweeting about in Operation C, like the one big pit at the top of the waterfall area where you can just wait for 20 seconds and then a little bridge builds itself over the pit?
I never knew that.
That's so wild.
That is a literal 1 pixel jump. You have 1 fucking pixel to make that jump.
Uh-huh. That's a Castlevania.
And they build a bridge? I was just flabbergasted.
And then I saw the other one where you can shoot an alien for longer than you'd think and then get a homing missile.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
that's
cool.
crazy.
It's so cool. I love little secrets like that. Contra's cool, Polly.
Yeah, Contra is really rad, and I'm glad that this collection is out. I hope more people give it a go, because there's certainly like I think that the package this thing offers for a mere $20 is definitely worth it, and the emulation is good enough that I think that the price is right. And considering that it's Konami we're dealing with, and that they gave enough of a fuck to actually give M2 at least the budget they needed to see this thing wasn't a total shit show, because it very well could have been. It very well could have been that SNK collection that came out a while ago that was complete and utter garbage.
I didn't know about that. That's sad.
But this emulation is really solid. The games are replicated well enough that I don't think most people are going to notice the little faults that are there.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Someday I'll finish Hardcore, and then I can finally move on to the PlayStation games.
Finally, the good ones.
Rhett!
Oh, is it back to me?
Yeah, it's back to you. What else have you been up to?
Wait, did we not do you?
I did my anime one.
Well, do you have anything else?
Did you want to balance
Sure.
it out? Do you want to talk about something else? It's your show, John.
That's true. There was one thing I got real into. I did take a little bit of. I've been playing a bunch of Trails Third. We don't need to talk about that one yet. I'll finish it.
Okay.
I'm a good ways into that. I won't say chapter numbers, but a good ways. I've been keeping you and Chelsea abreast of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. It's a very good game. Hey, Rhett, it's a very good game.
Okay.
God, Rhett, why aren't you playing Trails Third yet?
I'll tell you why.
He's got a good reason.
Yeah.
But I took a little bit of break from that because I was ready to play a good RPG. And I booted up Saga Frontier because the best news happened.
Perfect! Perfect subscription, Rhett. Perfect. You will never hear a more perfect subscription.
You were waiting. You were waiting for me to bring. That's why you said it. You were like, you had your finger on the trigger for that.
I literally did.
And you were like, wait, no, I thought John was going to talk about Saga. So they did announce at E3 that they are finally localizing the Romancing Saga 3 remake and the updated re-release of Saga. Shit, what was it called?
Scarlet Curiosity? I don't know.
Scarlet Weather Rhapsody.
Yeah,
and Saga Scarlet Weather Rhapsody.
Trials of Saga.
Scarlet Grace. Scarlet Grace, Ambitions, the remade, the kind of they made a updated version 2 years later, and that's the version we're getting.
The one Toriyama named.
Was it a phone game or a Vita game?
It was a Vita game. It looks like a phone game. It really it sure does look like a phone game.
Jeez.
I read that interview where he was like, "Oh, we took out dungeons and towns, so you just walk around the overworld and trigger story battles and sequences." And I was like, "Oh, cool, like Fate Go." Fabulous.
Perfect.
But it still has the pretty music, and if it's I still play we'll play those kind of games, so
the frothing demand for the Saga series continues.
Yeah. But even better, they did. But the real gem. I'm glad that they are bringing that. I'm glad that they're bringing over Scarlet Grace. I'm glad for more of that. I'm really glad they're bringing over the Romancing Saga 3 remake.
I thought
Because
you
I
didn't
played.
like Romancing Saga 3.
You thought I didn't like that?
Yeah.
I never. Oh no, I sampled Romancing Saga 1, and that's the one. I'm sure it's lovely. It's pretty. It feels a little pretty janky, and the music and aesthetic aren't very pretty in comparison. It was 1992, and it wasn't like. I showed that video where it's pretty janky and a little
very very like while Final Fantasy was kind of getting the budget, Saga probably not.
And it was the first open world one, so like that's another kind of thing, is that they were figuring out a lot of that stuff. Like, here's one big change from Romancing Saga 1 to Romancing Saga 2. 2 is the one I beat it. I bought it on my phone. I beat it. I completely loved it. In 1, you level up your weapons when you use them. And you have a specific sword, and then the more you use that sword, the stronger you get with that sword. In Romancing Saga 2, you have a generic sword stat that levels up the more you use swords.
Right.
In the first game, you level up your ability to use that specific weapon. So when you get a new sword, you start at level 1 again. So that's like one of the little things that they tweaked in 2, and just made it kind of more nice and accessible.
Well, I honestly expect you to say something that was like made it less accessible.
Yeah, like this is.
And now
Akitoshi
it's just a random.
Kawazu.
It's a sword stat, and it can go up or down at random.
I think they didn't introduce sparking until Romancing Saga 2 as well, which is the really cool thing where you'll learn abilities randomly during battle.
Just
so you
in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, you'll go to use a certain ability on an enemy, and then your character will have a little light bulb pop on their head, and then they'll use a new, usually much stronger ability on the enemy, and it feels really good.
Which
and
I
cool.
think that's actually a cool system.
Yeah.
It's
really
just,
like
hey, the parameters for this happening are fuck if we know.
Yup. That's generally, I think, something I've been. So I booted up Saga Frontier, and I played because I was in a Super Saga-y mood, and I played all of the robots route, and I beat it. So that was the first time I'd finished a Saga Frontier route, and it made me feel good. I still feel completely terrified the whole time I'm playing a Saga game, and I don't believe that I'm going to actually win until the final boss is very dead. I spend the whole time thinking, nope, it's not going to pan out. I'm going to get fucked.
Yep.
This isn't gonna be okay. I'm so worried. Like, I literally didn't fight any boss in Saga Frontier that took more than 2 tries.
Right.
But I spent the whole time very stressed out, which I think is pretty ideal. That's pretty good game.
I want to
sense.
struggle. I want to struggle in these kinds of moments. You got to make me feel it.
Yeah. And that was kind of the realization with like Romancing Saga 2 especially. I kind of had to process that as convoluted as all these systems are, ultimately what it is you have to fight a bunch of battles so that you can get stronger and then beat the boss.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically what it all boils down to. Like, I was stuck in Romancing Saga 2 for a long time, and then I was like, I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? And then I was like, oh, I just have to grind for 2 hours. And then I did. And then I beat a bunch of bosses. So I think that because the games have like things like level scaling, which usually just affects the regular enemies, the bosses have static high levels.
Yeah.
It makes people think like, oh god, you can't.
It's insurmountable, and you have to grind.
It's insurmountable. I can't. It's not even that I have to grind. It's that I can't grind. That's not going to fix it.
No.
But it will. Grinding usually is going to fix it.
I mean, like, it's still, like, it's not grinding in the sense because these games don't have experience points. It's more of that Final Fantasy to do stuff in battle, get bonuses for it.
Mm-hmm. Except that in Final Fantasy 2, it's very directly related between you and what you do, which can lead to you doing silly things to grind.
Yeah, like beating yourself over the head with a stick.
Yourself out of the head. From Final Fantasy Legend 1 on, they kind of disconnected what that relationship a little bit. Like I think there's some of it there, but mostly you just finish a battle, and then you get some stat bonuses, and you don't really have to think about it.
Yeah, Chrono Cross has sort of like a simplified, smaller version of that.
Chrono Cross is weird in that your big level ups are mostly just
those come from big story bosses.
From beating a story boss, yeah.
But you still get smaller ones over the course of just in the interim.
Yeah, it's weird. I think you get you fight random encounters, and you get little things, little boosts in Chrono Cross, and then once you fought a certain number, you'll get kind of a bigger stat boost.
Yeah.
And then you either don't get any, or they go back to small forever.
Yeah.
So there's that little meta thing of did I get my big stat boost? Should I do that before I fight the boss?
Yeah.
Except you don't have to. Chrono Cross is very, very easy.
Very easy, baby easy video game.
Very baby easy video game. So what I wanted to do talking about Saga Frontier here was that I feel like we built up kind of a narrative about these games, and I kind of wanted to talk about what it was actually like playing it. Yes. If that makes sense.
I think that's fair, because I mentioned that this week that I will 100% admit that I admire Akitoshi Kawazu's design principles, because they're very pure, very honest, and it's not random for the sake of random. There is a method that makes sense to him as to why these systems work the way they do. And I understand why people like them. They're just not for me.
Oh yeah, that's completely
but
fair.
As a creator, I have an immense amount of respect for him sticking to his guns on every project he does, because they are so easily identifiable to have his mark on them.
Yep. Literally, you can play Last Remnant and just be like, yep, he was involved in this one. That, I think that's fabulous.
And that's great. I think that, even though I don't really like any of his games, I like him as a creator.
Mm-hmm.
We need
I think that's
crazy
totally
elements
cool
like that. We need creatives like that, I think.
Especially in the bigger space like that. This at Square Enix, this dude is making games.
Yeah, somebody so cool. The most streamlined mainstream company in the world has a mad fucking scientist on board as well.
The people that made Dragon Quest XI also have Kawazu.
Yeah.
I mean, they also have Yoko Taro, so
that's fair.
Yeah, to be fair, that is a fair thing to say. Yes.
Yeah, Yoko Taro, also mad scientist.
Yes.
Better, I think you could say. Also has the interesting quirks, like when you play Dragon Card 3.
Yeah.
We talk about that. So
yeah.
But
the experience of playing Saga Frontier.
All right, the experience of actually playing Saga Frontier. It is 95% random battles. You're just fighting random battles. Most of them are very easy. You're just kind of grinding through these battles. That's the reality of it. The routes are short. I finished this robot route in 8 hours. It almost felt like sort of one of the Game Boy sagas, but squeezed down, which I really liked. The Game Boy sagas are linear. Mm-hmm. And then, from Romancing Saga on, they add the open world element. And the way that so in Romancing Saga, you start off at this world, and then you can just go anywhere, and the enemies will scale up with you. And in Romancing Saga 1, it's literally just once you completed enough quests, just going around doing stuff or fought enough battles, I can't remember which, then the last quest opens up. It's so open-ended in how you can approach it. But Saga Frontier has these 7 linear routes, little story routes. It's just that they all take place in the same big open world.
Yeah.
So the way that manifests playing Saga Frontier is that you have this little linear RPG where at any time you can go dick around in this giant world that's mostly empty and irrelevant to your story.
And that's that kind of exploration is really what RPGs were kind of built on. When you look at older Dragon Quest games, when you look at older Final Fantasy games, it's a lot of that experience is going places you shouldn't fucking be, getting your ass kicked, and then trying to find the actual main thread.
Yeah. So there were times just playing the game where I went on an hour and a half long detour and then realize, okay, I don't actually need to be here.
Yeah, it's Saga just lets you go because of the way enemy scaling works.
Mm-hmm. Which is really cool. It's more cool when you're playing with humans because those are the ones that grow. They're leveling up every fight. So if you just go and dick around in this random dungeon that doesn't mean anything, you'll level up the whole time, and then at the end you might find a cool boss and then get your ass kicked, and then come back 4 hours later and beat it, and then get a really good sword. That's what happened with me. I got a really good sword from coming back to this boss I fought at the start of the game and got my ass kicked. I came back like 2 more times. Second time, almost beat him, but got my ass kicked. And I came back later, killed him, and then got an end game really good sword that I used for the final boss.
So it's like in almost the most roundabout way, you could say that Saga games are very much the modern analog of the traditional RPGs of where we started.
Yeah, when he said that he liked Ultima 4, I was like, oh yeah, I see that.
Like that puts a lot of things into perspective.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, so so that all makes sense. I because Saga Frontier also brings back in Romancing Saga, there's just humans who level up just with stat gains every fight, so it's pretty easy to understand. Saga Frontier brings back the other races that were present in the Game Boy games, who just have completely different progression systems, from a different game.
Every character is literally unique in that game. You can't take that away from it, for good or bad. Every main character you pick is completely unique.
So I had a party of almost all robots this time around, and the way it works, the way robots work, like humans, they just level up. They don't level up. They gain stats every fight, and then if you fight stronger enemies, then you get more stats, and they equip weapons and items, and it's very understandable. Robots have 8 equip slots, and anything they equip raises their stats, and they don't level up.
I thought you could get bonuses from absorbing abilities.
Maybe you can. I didn't notice any, but maybe you can't. It's Saga, Polly.
It's been a long time since I've played this game, but I thought that I remembered absorbing skills after battles, and I think that they give you like small increases to random stats, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, if they do that, it's not the primary progression method for robots.
It's not. No.
Like it is with humans. With robots, you equip like 3 copies of the same armor, and they won't just raise your defense like they do for humans, but it raises like your vitality, and your HP goes up. Like there's a huge bunch of stat bonuses associated with every item.
Yeah.
And the way you do it is you just hoard all these really good late game items and equip them into all these slots in your robots, and that's how you get really strong robots.
Yes. It is fascinating to say the least.
It's so weird. And they the way it's so weird, but they also like you kind of break them. It feels like you're breaking the game because they'll level up. You'll just get this good sword and put it on your robot, and suddenly have 300 more HP.
Yeah,
and he's strong, and he's suddenly stronger than every other guy you have.
Yeah,
it's like, oh shit, okay.
Like balance is not there was never an issue of wondering if our game is balanced during the production of this game.
Yeah, they just made it so you can break the game, and then they made the enemies hard to match it.
Yeah.
So there's next to no story. Like there are a handful, like less than I talked about Phantasy Star 2 having next to no story. This is significantly less than that. The story, so it's just this, like the robot has this very cute, very small story where he has his past mission that he has forgotten. He's 10,000 years old, and he's woken up by a little human boy, and he wants to remember what his past mission was. And then you go on a goose chase to 4 different places, and then you remember what your past mission was, and it was to stop this evil genocide robot. And by figuring that out, you've actually awakened the robot. So now you have to go to its base and destroy it. And that's the whole story. It happens over like 5 discrete story quests in the world. Mm-hmm. And most of that game is just fighting random encounters and managing the weird, obtuse systems. Is actually pretty decent about like flagging where you're supposed to go next. Like Tom gave me a couple hints in my stream, but I basically always had a good idea of where the next stage of the story was. And I think that was true for me in the Game Boy games too, where most of the confusion and opaqueness of these games isn't in like, how do I trigger the cutscene? It's more like, how do I even with these progression systems?
Yeah, it's just like, because like when you get a party where you're managing multiple progression systems, that's when things get real fucky with this game.
Yeah, there's also espers and monsters, and I think at least one half esper, and I think they all have different progression systems.
Yep.
I tried engaging with the monster. The monsters like eat other monsters, and then depending on what abilities you have, they absorb abilities from eating them, and then depending on what abilities you have equipped and in what order, they morph into other monsters, and that determines all their stats.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And it's not documented anywhere.
No, it's not. I think
way.
Even the official strategy guide, I have the strategy guide for this game. Even it seems kind of like, well, maybe, when it's trying to discuss a lot of these characters and their progression.
God.
I want to find the Japanese wiki that has figured it out.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's a thing on GameBacks. It's like, equip these abilities, and that'll turn you into a dragon. And then it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's just people have found formulas that work, and that's what we have. But we don't know how the underlying systems actually make this work. Like, I would be interested in hearing, like, a speedrunner play through a route of this game and explain the mechanics.
God. I thought that I figured out how the gold breaking works, and then I Googled it, and it's actually, there's more steps to it. Oh. There's this, so, but yeah, so there's next to no story, it's all fighting, and the fighting doesn't make any sense, and the last thing that I really connected with about the game is that I think it's extremely gorgeous.
Oh, God, yeah. Like,
very pretty.
It's got an incredible look.
It's got an incredible look and an incredible soundtrack. The Kenji Ito stuff is ridiculously on point.
All Saga games, despite what I think about them, they look incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love Saga 1's look. I love Saga 2's look. Like, I'm talking about Frontier, by the way. I don't really care.
Yeah, Saga Frontier is cool.
Like, Saga Frontier 1 and 2 are fucking gorgeous. Unlimited Saga, it's got its own whole shit going on.
Mm-hmm. Romancing Saga 3 looks great.
What was that?
I don't know. I thought
that was my keyboard moving.
That was not you. I thought that was like a squeal for a second. Like, it looks so good.
No, yeah. So like, the final boss fight of the robot route is just like mind-boggling. Like, I watched it on a video like 5 years ago, and it hasn't left my head since. It's a combination of like, the attack animations are very pretty, the sound design is really, really good and on point, and then the music is really good, and the art's really pretty. The battles are really snappy and feel great. So it's literally just like, this is a game of nothing but random encounters and managing this obtuse progression system, but the random encounters feel real good, so I don't mind too much. And also, it's only 8 hours long, so it was it's pretty easy to deal with.
There's like 7 routes, though, so each one is around 8 hours long, right?
Yep, but guess what? There's no, like, final route or grand or final, like, true story ending. Jeez. It's just, so there's no pressure.
So it's just 7 small games.
Yes, there was, I think, a planned 8th route, and it was cut. So
it's the Octopath Traveler of its day.
Basically. Doesn't that one have a story, though?
More of a story than it sounds like this has, but one of the big complaints I've always seen about that game is that there's not a whole lot of story. Or like, there's not that there's not a lot of story, but there's not a lot of connectivity between each character's story until like the very, very, very end when you've done all 8.
Yeah, Saga Frontier has 7 routes and 7 final bosses and 7 different...
And 6 endings.
And 6 endings.
I was browsing around game FAQs, specifically seeing people talk about that one that just fades out and like what their theories were.
That's so funny.
It's funny seeing game FAQs posts from 10 years ago and realizing, oh, that was 2009. Like, it's not that.
Like, the game still wasn't recent then.
Yeah.
I was 12 years old at that point.
But I saw a lot of people bitching that the game wasn't actually finished, and that was one of the clear signs that one of the routes just doesn't have an ending.
Well, it's not like that. It's sowing the seeds of some greater arc in the story. Like, I don't know. Like, complaining about it feeling unfinished doesn't make too much sense to me because there's no sense of like of a bigger, grander thing that wasn't a bigger, grander vision that was not fulfilled.
That's so weird.
Like, it feels like they started making RPG and then they just kept going until they ran out of time and money. Like, a friend said, like, if he felt like playing Saga Frontier, like if they had been given enough resources, it would have just kept going, and by now Saga Frontier would have consumed Jupiter with a bunch of unrelated maps and said like there's like 20 world maps that are just completely disconnected and have like 4 things in them. Like they're all completely different settings. Some of them will be cyberpunk, some of them will be epic fantasy, one's a farm, one's a casino. Like,
so wait, the 7 characters in this, they don't share the same world map?
You can go to all the world maps with all the characters.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. So I played a little bit of this game back in the day, and I bounced off it real quickly.
And then there's at least one. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you have any idea how the espers work?
No idea.
Because that was the one I think I tried to play, and I was just like, I hate this. I'm 13 years old. This is not Final Fantasy.
It's hard. I think that it sounds like Red's the one to go for newbies because it's humans and it has like the meatiest story. I think it's the Sentai one. That's the one I'm probably gonna do next.
I do think fun. I can kind of remember being able to go to the other world maps, and again, being very confused about why that was possible.
You could just go to like 20. There's at least one route, I think, where you just start and there's like a brief intro and then you open up the route and the way to the final boss is open.
Yeah.
And all you can do is just play in the open world and level up for 7 hours.
Oh my god.
Which is wild. So
it's a crazy ambitious game, especially for the time that it came out, because now you're in like a post Final Fantasy VII world where
that's what killed it for me, though.
Yeah, that's I think
there were expectations that were not.
I think that's what killed it for a lot of people. Having come out after
Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII,
and it actually says that on the box.
My god,
it's the most damning thing.
Yep.
I mean, speaking of expectations, Final Fantasy VIII also had to come after Final Fantasy VII, so...
Man, bummer they found the source code for that. Now people have to pretend they like it, too, and they're excited about it being announced.
That's the thing, when people, like, talk about Final Fantasy VIII or, like, Chrono Cross, like, well, I like the character progressions, I like the art, I like XYZ. There's still so much bad story in those games and bad, boring fights.
Yeah.
Like, that's why Saga Frontier is like the one where I feel like I can say, well, I mostly just like it because it's very pretty. Because there's nothing else. There's no story.
There's not a lot of anything else. No.
There's nothing distracting you from it just being very pretty and having nice feeling fights.
And really good music.
And real good music. That's it. It's just a vehicle for delivering art.
I would say no story is probably better than bad story.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my thesis, with it being my favorite bad PS1 Square game.
Holy shit, I think this podcast has turned a corner on Saga Frontier.
I think it has.
I don't know. I'm not lining up to go back to that thing.
I'm not saying you gotta go back, but I can at least look at that thing and say, I get it. I get it. Even if it's...
I kind of still don't get it.
Even if it's very much like Samurai Karasu once elegantly put it, like playing chess with a dementia patient. Even if it is that over the top and bonkers, I can respect what that thing's doing and Kawazu's vision.
Yeah. I think the romancing games probably would make more sense to average players because it's like, I think Saga Frontier is the most weird and opaque Saga game of the ones that I've tried.
You ain't played Unlimited yet.
That's true. I haven't played Unlimited yet. But the Game Boy games are linear, which makes the opaqueness much easier to deal with systems-wise.
Yeah.
And then Romancing, like, again, with Saga Frontier, 90% of the world map is irrelevant. With Romancing, like, you have a little story at the start, but then, like, with Romancing Saga 1, you pick one of 8 characters, and they each have their own little story arc, but then it just merges into the big game, and they all have the same final boss.
Jetstorm has a great idea in chat. I think we should do it. It's easily emulatable. I think we should do it.
I'll dive into Unlimited Saga if other people are going to join me with it. I will easily do that. I have a copy.
Who wants to join us on this fresh hell? That includes you, Rhett. You're in.
Not me.
Nope, you're in. You are part of this podcasting experience. You must endure and enjoy.
I got 2-minute games to play coming up.
The 2 ends. Enjoy and endure.
Well, the thing with Unlimited Saga is that we can all go in knowing we're not going to finish this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, nobody's going to finish this garbage.
Because nobody has finished it. Ever.
Nope. Ever.
It's unlimited.
It's very unlimited.
I think I remember checking how long to beat years ago and it having, like, 3 people on this PS2 game, like a high-profile Square PS2 game.
They just accidentally stumbled into the finish.
Like thousands of monkeys on typewriters.
Yeah.
I'm looking at howlongtobeat.com Unlimited Saga. It's actually one person.
What? It hasn't changed in 5 years. Holy shit.
One person said it took them 48.5 hours.
Just the mere premise of that game and the craziness that is there, and just like it's a board game? What's going on? What is this wheel? Why is it spinning? I don't get it.
It's like you can open a treasure chest, and then when you try to open it, you spin a roulette wheel, and then either you successfully open it or you don't. Yeah. And you have a limited number of turns in the dungeon, so every time you try to open the chest and fail, you're wasting turns. If you run out, then you lose the dungeon. Like that's one piece of it. Like, you have to do that roulette wheel for everything.
And it's still got crazy-ass bonkers progression systems for characters.
Oh my god.
On top of all of the board game stuff, it's just like, I would be on to play this game. I would at least give this game 10 hours of my life. Just because I have to know.
I get it. I feel like I've been saving up for it. Like Saga Frontier still terrifies me. Like I told you, I was in the final dungeon, up to the final boss, didn't think I was going to beat the game.
Yeah.
I thought I had saved past the point of no return point, and I was like, I don't want to revert my save 2 hours because this dungeon took a long time. There's like 2 hours after the point of no return, so I was like, oh god. Oh man. If I can't beat this boss, I'm pretty screwed here.
It's like having 99.9% D meter in Breath of Fire 5.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Breath of Fire 5 is like we had a purpose and a vision and a story.
Yeah, like this all makes sense and is good.
This all makes sense and it's good, and you may understand why everything is the way it is. Saga is like, it's just RPG divorced of context.
It's like WarioWare, but a little more complicated.
Like it's just raw primordial RPG energy. You're not playing it because you want to get to know characters. You're not playing it because you want to experience a world that makes sense and is cohesive. You're not playing it because you want to have like a clean, sensible play arc like you would with Dragon Quest. Like it's just is RPG. And they just made a bunch of it. Yeah. You can live in it for a while.
There's like 7 of them in there too.
There's 7 routes in there. I'm very excited. I want to get through at least 3, probably this year. And then like that'll feel like it'll be a pretty good picture of it. Because again, most of it's just going to be fighting the same random encounters. So.
Yeah.
But boy, 7 different final bosses, and again, like the robot root final boss is just one of the prettiest things I've ever seen in a game. And there's 6 more of these things. I'm pretty happy. I think that's Saga. We should play Unlimited Saga on a stream.
We really should.
Thanks again, Frez, for sending me his copy. Like a curse. I've got a copy of Limited Saga and a copy of Drakengard. And it's just like, oh, good, I've been cursed. Thank you.
Holly, what's the other one? Alundra 2?
Alundra 2. I should just send you that copy of Alundra 2 I have. Get it out of my life forever.
And I'll send you Phantasy Star Universe.
Oh, no!
Those are bad games. These are also bad games. But...
But...
Alright, I think that's Saga. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, cool. Do you want to take a 5-minute break before we dive into the
blueberries?
All right. We will be back in about 5 minutes, y'all. Get yourself take a break.
Polly, I'll let everyone know.
Oh, yes.
Okay. My bad.
Everyone, we're gonna take a 6-minute break. We'll be back in a minute. Go hydrate. Take care of yourselves. We love you. We're the only ones that love you. But that's the sign off. Don't think that we just signed off. I know that that's the sign off.
Now it's the break.
Now it's also the intermission.
On John's version of the podcast, it's the intermission.
It may also be the sign off. We're in chaos land, people. I'm making up the rules. They only make sense to me. It's like Saga. All right. See you in a little bit.
Okay.
No. Huh.
Okay. You said I wasn't gonna do it.
Yeah. Just off the cuff. Yeah. Oh boy, filling time is really hard to do. Yep.
I mean, John did say 6 minutes, not 5.
He did. It's just completely thrown an entire curveball. I don't even know if we're allowed to be talking right now.
I'll permit it.
All right, good. You will allow it. You tell me when I should take the BRB off the screen, of course.
Oh, of course. I'll direct you.
All right.
I've got my blueberries. I've got my chamomile tea.
Hey, John.
Yeah?
You should look at Twitter right now.
I'm going to do the same.
Uh-oh.
Why?
Nah.
Aw, thank you for that.
Thank you for the 100 bits. Thank you.
I thank Rhett for this more than I think.
Oh, okay. I was
okay. I see.
What a crossover.
Mm-hmm.
That's a crossover.
It's a crossover.
It's funny because they can't see it, but we can.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they can hear us?
They can hear us, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Rhett retweeted Darkness from Konosuba wearing Tifa's outfit.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right.
It's a pretty good mix.
Remove the BRB.
All right, removing the BRB now.
Because we now are back.
We are back.
See, I thought they couldn't hear us until the BRB was gone.
There's a polycart right there in the chat.
I just see the word polycart.
Because you don't use Franker phrases, and you should. That's how you get cool emotes, like polycart.
I love blueberries so much.
Uh-huh.
They're so good.
You're not wrong. I had some amazing blueberry pancakes. And yeah.
Oh, you're making me hungry.
Oh, I'm hungry.
What are y'all's favorite fruits?
What is my favorite what?
Favorite fruits.
Fruits. I like strawberries.
Cantaloupe.
Cool. All good.
I like blueberries too, though. I buy them a lot.
Yeah, they're really, really good. Strawberries are probably a close second.
Yeah.
I think my favorite, my absolute favorite, are like real good peaches. Like bought off the side of the road in Georgia.
Nothing like
Georgia, then yeah.
Nothing like diving into a nice juicy peach.
Yep.
Nothing like it at all.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, besides fruit, we also enjoy other media. Rhett, what else have you been up to?
Hi. Well, so y'all mentioned earlier that I, like John, am not playing Trails in the Sky the Third.
Right.
So unlike him, who got distracted by Saga for some reason, I've got a very good excuse why I'm not playing Trails in the Sky the Third right now.
Oh?
Because I'm playing the latest entry in Falcom's other series, Ys. I'm playing Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana.
That game
I also played that before playing Trails Third.
That game's pretty good.
That game is pretty
good.
Saga
Frontier, but it's pretty good.
What can be Saga Frontier? Let's be honest.
Literally nothing. But yeah.
Well, this game does have a lot of random battles. It's a lot of fighting.
Oh yeah. Tons of fighting.
Yeast 8,
yeah. So what are you liking about East 8, Rhett? Let's break it down. What's going on? How's it going in East Town?
So last year I played 6 and 7, and it's just weird seeing the progression, because I know like there were 2 games between 6 and 7 like that I played. Is it Zero or Origins?
Mm-hmm.
And Oath and Fergana, and then I didn't play the one between 7 and 8, Celceta, I think.
Yeah.
But like, so the last 3 I've played have just been 6, 7, 8, and like, boy, the pacing changes.
It sure does.
Because 6 is just ridiculous with how fast that game moves.
Yeah.
Like, so the other thing about 8 that is funny to me is how, like, 8 all getting on a ship and the ship wrecking is like kind of a meme, basically. Like it's an in-game joke of how often it happens.
Yeah, it's like a wonder the dude even uses boats at this point.
Yeah. So like I don't know how many games this happens in, but I'm pretty sure that's how Oath starts, which is 3, and then 6 definitely starts with 6 starts that way, and then 7 doesn't, which is the curveball. But then there is another shipwreck in the middle of 7.
Yeah. And
like,
and in Salsetta, he just kind of
really?
wanders into town and has amnesia. So it's kind of a similar situation to 1 and 2, where he's just like, I don't know, I'm just a red-haired dude with a sword.
Jesus. But like specifically the shipwreck thing is funny to me because it is a trope they've used so many times. It's like it's Samus losing her weapons between every game, basically.
It's Adol's calling card.
But this is Ys 8, and this is the first time the story is largely about being a shipwreck survivor.
Yeah.
Like
it's taken them this long to get that part.
That's what's so weird. It's like you guys could have done this story in like literally any of the other games, but now Ys 8 on the PlayStation 4. Oh, now we're gonna really actually deep dive into what it would actually mean to be on a boat that sinks and wash up on this island by yourself, and it's really good.
Yeah, it's super good.
But then, like, the pacing is just so weird compared to the previous games, especially 6, because I think in 6, like, he shipwrecks and then immediately gets met by like extremely relevant to the plot girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then just immediately gets whisked off to their village. Like, it's just like, oh, in Ys 8, that's like the first 30 hours or something.
Yeah.
Would be that section.
Takes a while to meet to meet important girl of the game.
Yeah. They milk that for all it's worth pretty much. Like but because you're doing the whole like building a town and rescuing other survivor stuff, like it's never boring.
No,
I think
never.
I think chapter 2 might go on a little bit longer than it should, but I almost think that's on purpose though, because it gets you into this rhythm.
Yeah.
And then hits you with a hammer, and
then
just
they're
breaks
setting you
that.
up. They're setting you up for a moment.
Like a domino, and then it all falls, and you're like, oh my god, what? Because like the way there's are additional like obstacles to clear that you need more members for.
Mm-hmm.
You think that chapter is going to go on a little bit longer than it does, and then things are happening now.
Things take a turn.
Yeah, so like, whereas the previous Ys games that I've played mostly have an A plot, this one definitely has 2 plots going on at the same time, where there's the whole shipwreck story and then the other one that's also very good, which I'm rapidly approaching the conclusion of.
Oh, that one's got a pretty rough landing, and I don't mean in terms of quality. I mean just in terms of oh man, here come the feels.
I know that. Yeah, I have a pretty good feeling of where this is all going, but like, it's just Ys 7 was like seemed so much longer than 6.
Yeah,
but I think this one is probably even longer, but it doesn't quite feel as long because I think it holds itself better than 7 did. Because 7 did that one thing where it's like, oh, and now let's revisit every dungeon. I was like,
yeah, Ys 7, I directly compared that game to Secret of Mana, in that I feel that it has the very same progression, and the kind of almost the same story, really.
Oh, really?
But yeah.
I mean, I like 7, but
I like 7. It's fine. It's fine.
Definitely a little more tropey, and you know, chosen hero saving the world is like Falcom deals with pretty.
They are not afraid of a trope. They are not afraid of tropes. It's just like when they decide to turn those tropes is when they're magical.
Yeah. They love them ancient ruins though, and ruined civilizations and like mysteries of the past, and you know, it's just when I was playing Trails, it was like, oh, okay, like
now it's now it's
yeah. There's literally a point where they flip the switch that says Ys on it. It's like kind of seeing how they continue to make games in that vein, and like the fact that this series has existed since the Turbo Graphics.
Even before that, PC 88.
Yeah. Okay.
PC 88, PC 98, then PC Engine / Turbo Graphics.
The first Ys game was what, 1986?
Oh my god.
86 or 87.
Yeah, it was super early.
Yup. Like it was like peers with Final Fantasy 1. So post Dragon Quest, but
so they must. So were the Turbo Graphics games already remakes?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the original were 8-bit computer RPGs.
Oh my god. So they remade them on TurboGrafx, and then they did 3 on SNES, and we don't talk about that one.
Well, 3 is still on the TurboGrafx.
And it's on the Genesis.
Wait, and it's on the Genesis.
They all are, and they're all, and 3 was originally a PC-88 game too.
Yes.
But are they all the weird side scroller thing?
Yes, they're all weird side scrollers.
Oh, okay.
I think that was post Zelda 2 as well, so they might have been taking inspiration. Well, then again,
that's a bad game to take inspiration from.
No, it's not. Zelda 2 kicks ass. But also Zelda 2 is borrowing from a bunch of side-scrolling PC RPGs, which were the games that Falcom was making. Like like even Dragon Slayer 2 was that. So.
Oh, jeez.
Which Dragon Slayer predates Dragon Quest. So.
Interesting. Oh boy.
I know.
So like that's what's funny is like you talk about this chronology dealing back to like late 80s, and here it is, Ys 8, like the 8th one, ignoring all the remakes. Mm-hmm. Like they go through the real big numbered ones are so few and far between, because like 6 was a PS2 game, and then 7 was PSP.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so weird that the next one is just 9. Like,
yeah, they're actually kind of like
we're just immediately
immediately actually having a direct sequel that is on
the same hardware
for once.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is like wild.
And Ys 9's looking fucking bonkers.
It definitely looks like 8 though. Like,
yeah, that's Falcom iteration at work.
Mm-hmm.
Like they do something right, and then they just continue iterating upon it, and the ways in which they're iterating upon it look fucking nuts.
Yeah. It's just interesting how like 6, like there were 6, and then there were Oath and Origins, which kind of iterated on. Then 7 had Celceta, which iterated on it, I presume. I haven't played that one.
And then
you said it was kind of
8
boring.
really iterates on those ideas that were put forth by 7.
But
and
because
Celceta.
because it's jumping from PSP to PS4, like I should say this game is a huge visual upgrade. It's gorgeous. It's like puts to shame a lot of other RPGs. Like,
and it's funny that that's one of the main complaints I hear from people who especially review mainstream games is that this game looks like a good looking PS2 game.
Well, you should have seen what they did on the actual PS2.
Yes, oh boy.
And especially coming straight off of Trails, which were, PS1 looking PSP games.
Yeah, like all of those games were on the same engine.
It was extra gorgeous, especially at the very start. I think the visuals do kind of... I feel like there's more kind of lighting effects at the very, very start of the game to kind of wow you off the bat, and then it kind of settles into like, it's a lot of island and beaches and stuff. Like, it does start to look a little samey.
But I still think that they're done really well, and I don't feel that any of the map designs ever feel like they're repeating the ideas. Like, I feel that every unique area of that game has its own unique bit of charm or a unique gimmick to keep it to keep you engaged.
Yeah, it's very cohesive, I think. Mm-hmm. Whereas E7, like the areas were so diverse, where it's like you have the mountain and the desert and like the jungle. Like they didn't really feel like they'd naturally be next to each other.
Yeah.
Whereas this is one island and it all feels like 100% natural. There's a jungle here and there's a swamp next to it. Like they're different, but you
can see everything from everywhere.
And that part is so awesome. Cool. And there's that huge tree on the south side of the island.
Yes.
That they just kind of never talk about. And then I finally got there.
And it's just like, oh.
I was like, I forgot about it. Because you guys started talking about the other big tree for the whole game. I forgot about this one over here. Yeah, the fact that you could see and even kind of make out some of the map design in other areas, especially when you're at the top of the mountain and looking down, like that's awesome. Yeah, the coolest moment in this game is kind of when you get to the top of the mountain and you finally see over it to what's on the north side of the island. You're like,
such a moment. That is such a cool moment.
Because the map is designed so that like there's this mountain that just completely seals off the north and the south, and like so the mystery for like first quarter of the game is what the hell is waiting for us on the north side of the island, and then you find out, and it's really good.
They do such a good job with that reveal.
Yeah. So yeah, I like it. I like how they've iterated on kind of the damage types that they introduced in 7. Because 7 had the same series of like, this is weak to slashing, this is weak to big hammers, and But I feel like in 7, you were punished way more for using the wrong type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The damage was like, you're literally doing 90... your damage is reduced by like 90+% on in E7.
So I think in E8, they don't have as many...
It's not as harsh.
It's not as harsh, and there's not as many enemies where you have to use a certain damage type on them. So like when it comes up, I'm like, oh, I'll switch to Laksha, because then she can do the aerial stabs against birds, because that's what she's good for.
Yeah, that's mostly what I used her for.
Yeah, but she gets a permanent spot in my party because I don't want to deal with flying enemies with anybody else.
I think she feels really good to play.
And if you time that attack really well, you can use it to get places you maybe shouldn't be able to.
Ooh.
I definitely found a lot of spots where it's like, oh, if I, jump, attack, and then do one of the specials, you kind of clip
It'll
up a
carry
hill.
You up.
Yeah. It's like, it's not like, maybe there's sequence breaking you can do with it.
There's definite sequence breaking.
Oh, really?
It's definitely part of the speedrun route of using Laxia to carry you forward.
Oh, that's
more
cool.
so with another character whose entire arsenal is just fucking dancing, basically.
Yeah. I've noticed that as I get later to the game, though, the movement starts really good, and then it gets great when it's like you get those upgrades to how fast you run, and you get the double jump. So it's just like I can look at a huge area now and be like, okay, run, double jump, and then just start rolling in the air and just like clear the entire thing.
It feels really good.
You get so it's turbo mode without turbo mode, where I'm just like, oh, zoom. I'm just fucking flying over this map. There's the dungeon that's not in the Vita version, we think. Like one of the big opening rooms of that is just like this huge like kind of cliff.
Oh, you can just easily carry.
You can just jump over the whole thing.
You can just carry yourself across with a few attacks and a few specials, and you're in there, and it feels so good, and
it's so good.
Looks so good in action too.
Yeah. I love that you can just dodge roll multiple times in the air.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much everything in the air in this game is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, Rikuta has this one move where she just spins around for a while and then falls over. You can do that in the air. Yeah. She'll do a spin in the air, kind of fall over, then spin back up while staying in the air.
It's real stupid.
It looks so stupid, but it's like, yeah, sure. So I haven't finished it yet, though. I feel like I'm getting down to it.
You're getting close.
Yeah.
You think that you're going to finish by the time Super Dimension or Super Neptune RPG
I'm losing hope
out?
on that because we're spending 3 hours doing a podcast.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure you're going to get there, but I think you'll be close.
Yeah. But I'm basically at the point where I'm like, oh man, this game's going to make me cry a lot at the end, isn't it?
Maybe.
Just because it's going hard.
The game's story goes pretty hard at the end, and I think that they earn the big moments that are coming.
Yeah, they've set up so much that I'm really excited to see play off.
I think there's like a true end gate, but it was seamless for me. I think if you do like you're doing all the quests basically, right?
Yeah, Polly warned me about that early on.
Then you're good.
I think somebody said it's like you need 200 reputation.
Yeah, you need 200 reputation, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm at like 160 now, but I've heard you get a bunch at the very end.
Yeah.
Because like the max is like 300 something, so if you do everything eventually, like you shoot past the requirement. So that game's pretty good.
Yeah,
cool.
It's that game's Falcom. What can't Falcom do at this point? Really? Like, I think that, like, we're kind of branded at this fucking point.
Yeah.
I mean, they just do characters that are good, and they have good game. They make games that feel good to play.
Yeah, the game feel in this one, like, Trails is obviously very different because it's a turn-based
RPG. Yeah.
But, like, so this one feeling so good to play, so, like, oh, yeah, like, because certain character So Donna's real fun to play as.
Yeah, you play as Donna, of course.
Yeah.
And she is amazing.
And I keep thinking, like, oh, this is like her super overpowered move. And then she gets another one and it's even better. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I got the one where she just jumps up in the air and fires, like, ice beams down as, like, a regular move.
Oh, yes.
And I'm like, oh, this is like, it's called Ice Age, I think. And I'm like, oh, this one is so good. And then I got like one where she just fires a huge water projectile in front of her. And I'm like, oh, this one seems even better. What the hell?
She only gets better, like, with the game. She just
So I didn't understand, like, oh, she's OP. And I'm like, she's not that OP. Like, I can do more with the other character. I can do about the same damage with the other characters. Now it's like, oh, she's really starting to pull ahead, huh? So I'm having to give her the thing that like makes you level up skills way faster.
Oh yeah,
because the default is real slow, and she keeps learning new ones. So it's like, oh, this stuff is amazing at level 1.
Yeah.
I
don't think I ever grinded skill levels. I don't think I ever grinded skill levels on her just because she was so fucking good to begin with.
Yeah, I just had those accessories equipped for most of the game, because if you have those equipped, then they level up all their skills real quick.
It seems pretty dramatic. It's like, I think you get like 1 EXP for killing an enemy with it or something. So like even the first one the first one +1 would double it. Yeah. So like the one that I have now that's +4, it's like, oh, you're making this 5 times faster. Like that's unreasonable. There's that one move she has where it's just like, will drain Spirit Bar while it's active.
Yep.
So I just stood there and deactivated that like 10 times, and it leveled up, and I'm like, okay, this is I don't know what that actually does on that move, but it's like, oh, stuff is gonna go fast now if I have her on the 5x one, but I want to see what those magic spells do at max level, because you a dance one shoots projectiles at level 3. That's cool. It's amazing they've made the combat like stay interesting for as long as the game is, because it is still relatively simple.
Yeah.
And it's kind of core. Like, and parries kind of break the game, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You and I can parry, so that just kind of simplifies a lot of things, I think.
Yeah. There was one boss, though, so Rikota has that move where she spins around for a while and then falls over. That does stupid amounts of stun damage. And like I gave her an accessory that's like plus random amounts of stun.
Oh god.
So like there was one boss where she could just do 2 spins and it would stun the boss.
That's crazy.
So we would just attack him for a while, and then I would do 2 more spins and he would be stunned again. I'm like, I broke this one, huh?
Wow. Yeah, I don't think I broke any bosses that bad, but I didn't use Rikota as much as you seem to be using Rikota.
I use her like the most.
She's real good. She's real good.
She's not even she's good. She's real fun.
Yeah.
Like all her moves are just so goofy, like just slamming shit down, and like the aerial dive is real fun, and the spin is real dive. The throwing bones is real good.
She just throws a big ass dinosaur bone. Why not? And
it does a ton of damage.
Yeah, it's stupid.
So she is just so fun to play as. Where I'll default to her most of the time. And then obviously you pull out other characters for certain things.
Yeah. Like, I think every character is fun and unique to play as to in some way.
Yeah. I honestly kind of never gave Hummel. Is that his name?
Hummel.
I don't know. Hummel. They don't say his name enough because he
doesn't
don't
really
do
say
much.
His name a lot. No.
His relevance to the plot is so wild.
He's got pickles. He's still fun though. He's purple. We like him because he's purple.
Oh, okay.
He's got a lot of purple.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, my Laksha is also purple.
Your Laxia is also purple.
She's very good, and she has glasses now.
She has fancy glasses now.
Fancy glasses. So she's.
Hey, Red, did you pick up on the topic of conversation she would bring up that made me laugh a lot?
No, honestly.
Okay.
Is it a spoiler?
No, I guess it was. You probably know. I just when she compares Adol to someone,
she does it a lot.
It's
really funny.
Oh.
Yeah. She might have a bit of a complex.
Might have. To me, that was like
another character even specifically called that out. I think her butler.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like they'd had this very on the nose conversation about it, and then the butler was like,
But then he's also like, you seem like husband and wife, and I'm like, wait.
Whoa.
Which metaphor are we going for here?
So that was like the one story thing where that was like, okay, y'all are hammering this home pretty hard. I appreciate it, but
really, yeah.
They really lean into it.
It made me happy.
I think they kind of let off it a bit. That's why I didn't immediately get too worn out. Like it's a lot of it is up front loaded during like chapter 2.
Oh yeah.
Because that's kind of her main development arc, and then she stops being so uptight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like Trails of Cold Steel kind of has like a similar start with two characters like that. So yeah, they like that. Two characters
Archetype.
That are a bit at odds with one another, or one character has a problem with another character, but the other character's just like, why are you so mad?
So I never had a problem with her, and like half the dialogue. So the Adol doesn't talk, but he totally talks in this one.
Does.
But like you get to choose dialogue options, and then he'll kind of say one word of it, like okay. So like. So it gives you two options, and one of them towards the start of the game was always super rude to her, and the other one was cordial. And I'm just like always picking the cordial one because I'm like, I don't have a problem with her.
Yeah.
There are a couple points where I was like, oh, I'm not picking the doormat response here.
Yeah.
But they want you to be rude to her so bad.
They really do.
So I'll probably be wrapping up that one. I'll definitely wrap up that one by the next podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then I can talk about Neptune.
I might wrap up Trails 3rd by then too.
Yeah, you're both getting close to the end of two big Falcom bangers.
I'm pretty far along, Rhett.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what better time to stop during the climax than to play a fucking Saga game?
I know, right?
I just don't understand.
John Thayer continues to
RPG
confound me.
I was just very excited when Romancing Saga 3 got announced.
When I saw that announced, I was just like, well, I think I know what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And also, I literally played it for 8 hours and I finished it. So, now I played like 5 hours of Trails 3rd last night. So,
okay,
I'm back in it. God, I fucking
John is to the real meat and potatoes of Trails 3rd now. I don't think that there's much that's going to get in the way of stopping him.
It's all right. It's literally just this, he's like
a Nine Inch Nails song. Nothing will stop him now.
Yeah, just like a Trent Reznor.
Exactly. Like 90s RPGs, like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 7 specifically, where they just have characters, you get in their head, and they have these little arcs, and then you feel good feelings for them. Like, you understand Barrett and Locke and Frog and whatnot really well. Mm-hmm. And there's not actually a lot of RPGs that nail that down as effectively. And Falcom just does it. With Trails in the Sky, with Ys 8, they just do that, and it's really good.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Rhett?
No, I just agree. I thought you were going somewhere a little more complicated than that. It's like, they do the thing that should be easy, but it apparently isn't.
But it's apparently not, because no one else does it.
Yeah,
definitely not the Dragon Quest team.
Oh.
Yeah, so that, and then Trails in the Sky is that, and then Ys 8 is that. So
I mean, Trails in the Sky felt like that magnified, to 100.
Yeah, we're like, okay, we completely know what we're doing. We are not lucking into any of this. We are completely on point here. God, I fucking love Falcom.
They're real good.
Yeah, they make the best video games.
Kinda, yeah. they make the kind of video games where you play it and it's just like, you play it and it's fantastic, and then for a while your opinion of other games is colored a bit by that experience.
Oh,
I'm just like, oh no, I can't enjoy this.
Oh, Dragon Quest. Oh no.
Oh, poor Dragon Quest. To be fair,
John seemed to like Saga.
Unless you play Saga Frontier, every PS1 RPG is just bad Trails in the Sky, except for Saga Frontier, because it's
so
just
different.
It's just Saga Frontier.
Yeah, Saga Frontier is like Winamp has its own classification for Primus music under genre, just because the genre is Primus. Very similar to how we don't call Saga Frontier a JRPG, we just call it Saga Frontier. It is a Saga Frontier.
Like, I played Xenogears and then played Trails in the Sky. I was like, oh, I want to think about Final Fantasy VIII, and I think about whatnot. I'm like, oh, Trails in the Sky is so good. When I play Saga Frontier, I'm not thinking, oh, boy, it's Trails in the Sky would be doing this so much better.
Yeah, you're not even in that same mental loop.
Yes. So those are the only two RPGs, are Saga and Trails. You play those and then you're satisfied.
That's good.
Polly.
Yo.
What else have you got?
What else do I got? So I played this about a month ago, but given the way that we've kind of had to structure podcasts lately, I can finally get around to talking about it. I played Valhalla. I played this in one fucking sitting. This is like an 8-hour game, and I played it in one fucking sitting, which honestly surprised the hell out of me. I did not see that happening. Are either of you two familiar with Valhalla or what it is? Do I have to go? Do I need to go over the basics here?
It sounds like Rhett's mic just died, so let's take a moment. Technical difficulties.
Okay, we'll take a
Hello?
moment. Hey,
there you are.
Hi, Rhett. I plugged it back in. Sorry.
There's our Rhett. So do I need to do a complete deep dive on Valhalla of what Valhalla is? Or do we have kind of a basic idea? Because it's a game that's come up a bit on Game of the Year lists over the past couple of years. So I probably don't need to do too deep a dive, but, just to kind of...
Yeah, I know the tagline is like cyber bartender.
Yeah, cyber bartending action.
Nice.
A downloadable waifu abuse for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux is the itch tagline there.
That's Jesus. A really weird tagline that I'm not sure I agree with.
Okay,
sure.
Cool. Weird.
I don't know. I think they're trying to draw some eyes with that tagline. That in no way is what I picked up with on the
gotcha.
From this game. So Valhalla, it's stylized VA-11HA774, I think, something like that. It's spelled really weird. So if you just try to look for Valhalla, you're not going to find it. So just do VA-11. And that's how you'll find it. But it's a cyberpunk game. It's combination of like a visual novel / bartender game. The bartending stuff is kind of more, it's sort of their way of gamifying it to make it not just be a visual novel, really, because you mix drinks and that's how you get people to talk to you, and you get money to help pay off your main character's expenses. Like, she's got a monthly porn bill. She's got a fork over money. That's real, by the way. She has a porn bill. And if you fail to complete any of these tasks over the game's, I guess it's like 3 weeks of time, I think. It's something like that. But she's got like 3 different bills she has to pay over the course. And that all comes from your bartending. And the way they kind of gamify that is... The bartending stuff is you mix drinks according to what people ask for, and then you go to a screen to mix the drink, and she will kind of repeat to herself like what they said to give you the hint of what to mix. And if you don't spend money to also keep her from getting bored, meaning you have to kind of like buy little doodads and stuff for her apartment, like when you go to mix the drink, like that will be kind of jumbled up and she won't remember. So it kind of like, you kind of get really funny responses from mixing patrons the wrong drinks anyway. But obviously you want to mix the right drinks because that's kind of where the bulk of the story is in getting to meet all of the patrons. And you kind of have to suspend disbelief because I've really never met a bartender that wants to talk to people on the level of that these characters are having conversations and getting involved in one another's lives at. I've been to quite a few bars in my time and have never really kind of seen that happen. So you kind of have to suspend disbelief and kind of just like, okay, a lot of these characters are just really familiar with one another and we're kind of getting a peek in now. We know that the main character, Jill, she's kind of like at a transition point in her life where it's just like not really going anywhere. So this is just kind of like, it's not a dead-end job, but at the same time, could probably be doing a little more with her life if she wanted to. And you kind of like get her to that point while also kind of finding out about her, which is what keeps you going forward, is that the more you talk and interact with patrons and get them to open up, obviously it's just like, well, I'm not going to sit here and just keep telling you my life story. Tell me a bit about yourself. And she kind of reluctantly has to open up more and more over the course of the game.
Aww.
And it's a really nice progression. And the story that they're telling is like, I wasn't sure I was on board with it at first. And then like they have a moment that kind of happens smack dab in the middle, and it's just like, oh shit, that's a big bomb drop of a past problem that you have that probably needs addressing, and boy, oh boy, little Miss Girly Girl Bartender, you are really screwed up and probably need to confront some things. And it really dives into that. It does a lot. It dives very deep into the characters that you get involved with. The character writing is just consistently quotable and funny.
Oh yeah, that's the main thing I take away on Twitter.
The script for this game is endlessly fucking entertaining. Just like whether it's trying to be gripping and pull you in with the more serious stuff, or just crazy off the wall shit's happening. There's just like I know I posted a shit ton of screenshots while I was playing through it on Steam, but I've got like 400 or so screenshots just of like, it's like when you're playing through a Neptunia game and there's just lines that jump out at you constantly that you have to screenshot because they're funny. This game has a lot of that. It's just consistently good, and it tackles a lot of queer relationships and issues as well, and it handles those very well. I can't say that I was shocked, because the people behind it kind of seemed to be in the right place when it comes to kind of dealing with those kinds of issues. So nothing ever feels like trampled on or exploitable or anything like that. There's a lot of, I guess, contention with the elephant in the room character would obviously be Dorothy.
I've heard of this one.
Yeah, she is a robot. She is she looks like a younger girl, 12 or 13-ish, and she's a robot, and she is a sex worker, and she takes pride in her work, and she's very proud of the job she does, and she's very upfront. It's just like, hey, this model of work gets me a lot of work. So she's very upfront, but nothing in the game ever sexualizes that. Which is like why I think it's just like, okay, yeah, like you're just serving a fetish, and like you're totally 100% okay with that, and there's more to your character than that, which is kind of why that character works, is because the character isn't just a one-note sex joke. Even though she's full of them, and some of the lines she fires off are just Jesus Christ. Like a few of the lines she fired off even made me blush. Like, Jesus Christ!
Wow.
Like, I wouldn't even say that. Jesus. But yeah, there's a lot of point of contention in that character, and people kind of like, you know, especially with being a sex worker, and you know, obviously looking the age she does, but also being a robot. It's kind of like, you know, it's obviously trying to tackle a real big thing here, and maybe the game doesn't necessarily 100% nail it in the way that it should, and some might even argue that it's not really something that needed to be there, but I would say that I think they handled it well enough. They never exploit this character sexually in any way. You have a meaningful friendship with this character that, like, you're constantly talking about very real shit. So, like, I didn't find a problem with the character. I guess I might understand why some people do, but I would have to ask if they are interpreting that character properly. Because I do think that they're trying to play with fire with this character, obviously. You know, they wanted to make a character that would obviously be controversial, but at the same time, there's more to this character than just that. And I think that that's why Dorothy works.
It sounds like there's nuance, basically.
There's a lot of nuance. Like, it's just why I like under normal circumstances and under people who don't know how to handle these kinds of issues, trying to write that kind of character, wouldn't trust him at all. But I had zero issue with anything concerning Dorothy's portrayal in the game. I mean, it's like, if anything, she's just really sweet. And she's just a sweet girl, and her mind is on her business.
That makes it worse.
It might make it worse. She's just a sweet girl whose mind is on her business, and, like, she is the one that commands her own life and, like, what she does, and nobody else. And it's just like, hey, you know, do your thing. Like, I don't really see much of an issue from it personally, though I guess I can see why others might. So
this sounds like good cyberpunk.
This is really good cyberpunk.
Oh.
This is
John,
boom.
are you implying there are video games that are bad cyberpunk?
Uh-oh. Might be taking some shots over the bow here. But yeah, it's really good cyberpunk, and there were a few things that really made. Pardon?
That sounds Ghost in the Shell a little bit.
Yeah, it's got that kind of same vibe to it. And the way they explore all of the cyberpunk elements as well, it's just like, it's all handled very well, and people that are familiar with the genre, and it's not like just trying to be a bad take on all of that. It's just like it's what you would expect from something that's like, oh, it's a bartending game. It's just very warm, it's very human, but it's also got these cyberpunk underpinnings that kind of give it a very cool, polished, slick shine to it. The soundtrack is so effing good. Man, so good. What's with visual novels and having real fucking good soundtracks?
But it's pretty important though.
It's got some real funny.
It's pretty important.
It's got some real funny shit in it though that was put in over the course of development. That it's just like there's a lot of advertising space in this game for that one game that came out called Y2K.
Oh, I thought that's what you were gonna say. Yeah,
there's a lot of real bad ads about how it's like this big game of the future that it's in its 45th remake. Everybody loves it so much. It was just like, ouch, so that's a bad fucking look.
So it's not even just one reference; it's multiple times.
Tons of it.
Oh my god!
Where did that come in? Was the team up there?
I think that the company that put out Valhalla has also put that game out. So I think they were under the same distributor, and I think that's just, as indies do, mingle with one another. And
weird. And then that's also the game that got a Toby Fox track on it.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, I first saw it, and it was like, oh, this looks neat. And then you read anything about it, and like, oh no,
that game's real bad.
So real bad. I think by association, Valhalla has aged a little worse.
Yeah, it's
before you knew what that thing was, it was fine, but now it's like kind of cringy.
I just kind of laughed every time it came up. Every time there was
funny.
Yeah, it was just real silly given how bad and awful that thing came out. And it was like, yeah, okay, it can just be seen as a bit of a piss take when hindsight is 2020.
It's the same publisher, different developer.
Yeah.
So, definitely different developer for sure.
I mean, obviously, but yeah, same Ease Bride Games. So Valhalla came out in 2016.
Yeah, I mean, I got to it 3 years late.
It's just like this game has had a life.
Yeah, and Nirvana is probably coming out next year, which is a sequel. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
It sounds like they made. Okay, it sounds like there was a jam version in 2014.
Yes, I played that too.
I felt like I'd heard about this game since 5 years. Me
and Andrea Ritsu previewed that Game Jam version back in 2014.
God,
we did that on video. We did that on video. That was a long time ago.
That's why I've heard about this game. It feels like this game has been around forever.
Yeah, like Valhalla is so big. It's getting a crossover event in the Mobage Girls Frontline.
What?
So, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Well, now I have to check it out.
Dude, Valhalla is really good. Like, this is straight up one of the best games I've played this year. It kept me, like I said, like I started this thing and I didn't stop playing. I just kept going. And this thing is not short. It's pretty long, so.
So cool.
Oh, yeah. This game also has a character named Donna, who is amazing.
Well, it comes with the name.
Yeah, it just comes with it. She's so good. She's probably my favorite character in the game. But even though I like Jill a whole lot because Jill's very, very relatable. But Donna is an incredible character.
I agree. Which one are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. But Valhalla is fantastic. Like it's been on a lot of Game of the Year lists over the years that that were sent in to us like for our end of the year stuff. And I knew it was probably good just on those recommendations. So yeah, having finally sat down with it and enjoyed it front to back just in one sitting, yeah, it left a huge impression. And I think that it's got a fantastic ending. That story goes awesome. Where I think it needs to go for that character and the other characters that are more central to her story. Everybody kind of gets going in the direction they need to go, and it's a really sweet wrap up to some really heavy shit that they make you go through to get there. So yeah, like Valhalla is fantastic. I fucking love it.
Do you know if you can fail the game if you?
You can fail the game, yeah. If you
Okay.
fail to, you have to really fucking try though. I think because at no point did I ever feel that like I was ever in danger of not having the money to hit the next bill. I never got the bad ending. Okay. So
Atelier style timer pressure. Like
I was thinking more like Racketeer. That's a game where you have to pay off bills.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but you get like a shit ton of money every shift you do in the bar. Okay. So, like, I never had a problem. Like, I was able to always, like, buy a distraction item and always able to pay my stuff on time. So I never had a problem. And I didn't use a guide either, so.
Cool.
That's Valhalla.
Awesome.
Who's up next?
I'm honestly good. Like, so, I spent like 5 or 6 days, like, mostly just working on a little thing in Game Maker that was really fun to work on. So I haven't mediated that much.
Making games is pretty fun. It turns out
it's very fun. It's also very fun when you don't go into it with like a bunch of expectations and like I need to make this.
That's what happened to me. That's what happened to me a couple months ago when I started working on what has basically become sort of the foundation for probably the next big game that I'm working on. So, like, I just kind of sat down. I want to do this one thing. So then I did a thing, and then I made a bullet hell shmup, and then I figured out how bullet generation works and how bullet patterns can be generated, and then I did a thing with that, and then I did a quick rip off of Zalixer just to see if I could.
And I think we've all made Zalixer in Game Maker now.
Yeah, probably. And so I did that, and then that evolved into something entirely different, which involved a lot more stuff. And now that a lot more stuff, like I'm all kind of like compounding it all into one bigger idea, which I've demoed sort of on my Twitter and in Discord a bit, but I'm not really doing anything or announcing anything publicly for it yet until it's more of a concrete game. But yeah, like the thing that I've been putting a lot of work into is probably like next big game project that I'll be releasing hopefully sometime.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm working on a little shmup, and I've got most of 3 stages together. It's just getting the bosses down, and then I'm gonna probably put it out. Like, I'm gonna try to not overthink it too much. I think.
Yeah. Whereas my project is going to require a lot of thinking, probably.
Yep. That you get a good balance there. I think it's nice.
I did a lot of not thinking with Poly Dungeon, I think. So. And probably way too much thinking with Afterward.
Oh god, we did a lot of thinking with Afterward.
We did a year and a half of thinking with Afterward, so...
Yeah, I need to... The last 2 big things were Afterward and Facets for me, so I need something different.
Yeah, you've earned your brainless video game creation.
You know what's fun? Is that I kept playing Saga Frontier and thinking, you know what would be a fun jam is everybody sits down in front of RPG Maker, no outline, no idea. That's RTP only. Just make maps, make some battles maybe if you want battles, and then just make a bunch of stuff and then link it together like with very little thought or structure.
Just this big, ugly kind of game jammy game where everybody made a thing and we just all kind of hook it together.
No, I didn't mean as in like everyone linking their games to each other's games. Just like making a bunch of garbage on the screen and then not really worrying so much about it being like a big epic thing.
Right.
I think that would make a lot. I think that would be very fun.
That could definitely turn out pretty good.
Everyone
I had the same idea of Poly as of everyone linking the maps together to make something
I think that would be a really funny thing to do.
I just need to figure out if we can do that. If you can transfer.
Yeah, you can transfer map data. All you got to do is just find the map. The maps are stored as individual files in the in your game.
Yeah,
folder.
I wondered if you could just grab them. That'd be really nice.
Yeah, you can just pull them in if they use. As long as you have the same tile sets and everything, you're good.
Maybe I can just. I have 2 unfinished projects I'm never going to do anything with, so maybe I can just rip. I just want to have like 10 big sprawling maps and then make my own little nonsense saga thing at some point. That sounds really nice.
There you go.
So. That's another idea for just something low pressure.
And use a battle system that's not RPG Maker 2003.
Yeah, I'm probably. But the unfinished maps are all in VX Ace.
So. Yay!
So it's turn-based.
Yay!
So
that's
video games are good.
Yeah, video games are good. That's basically all I've got. What about
Rhett? I'll ask.
Okay, apologies, John. Apologies.
All right, thank you.
You gotta understand, it's force of habit for me.
Yeah. Understood. Don't worry. We can iron that out over time as I lead all the subsequent podcasts.
Exactly.
Rhett.
I mean, so that's it for me because E8 is pretty much. But do you guys want to talk anything about E3?
I was thinking we could definitely touch on some things that went down at E3. I'm just gonna say the one that kind of.
Can I do my start?
Fucking mind, but go ahead.
So these are games that were on stage, or franchises that were on stage at E3 this year. Saga. Mana.
Yep.
Phantasy Star. Panzer Dragoon. And for Poly, Contra.
They announced a fucking Contra game at E3. How fucking weird is that? They did a fucking teaser in 2011 at the end of Konami's fucking at the end of the video that they did. They had and they flew in a Contra logo, and they use the same goddamn fonts and transition in the reveal for Contra Rogue Core.
I have to imagine whatever that project was
That's
died.
dead. That's not it. No.
Yeah.
Because what we have now is like, I understand that the new Contra game is not a traditional Contra game in any way. Yeah. It is very much a top-down shooter. Like, I've seen people play it. When you shoot enemies, hit point numbers fly out of them. I know that there's like, the directors talked about like, you build your weapon arsenal over the course of the campaign, and by the time you get to the end, it's just fucking fireworks. So, and the director seems very into this project, and the reason that I'm trusting it for now, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to say like, I'm not excited to it on the level that I was, say, at Contra 4.
Yeah.
When that was announced and shown. But I'm going into this optimistic because I know that the talent is there that can make this work. I'm just hoping they do. And I'm just super stoked that, like, oh, wow, the fucking name Contra came up at E3.
That's so cool. What else were you excited about? You said Panzer Dragoon.
I lost my shit at that fucking Panzer Dragoon announcement.
Panzer Dragoon. Just fuck. And again, like, it's getting shit on in the same way that the Contra reveal is getting shit on. Which, that graphics, it looks bad.
For me, that Nintendo press conference was just like, forget about if the games are actually going to be good or not, and just let people be excited and happy about dumb shit. Like, because Microsoft fucking announced Phantasy Star Online 2 is finally coming to the West next year, by the way. Next spring.
It's going to have it's going to be basically on, from my understanding, it's going to be updated along with where the Japanese version is. So I have to think that they are probably either buying or soliciting the English translation that's already been floating around for years.
I mean, that makes me think the Japanese version is winding down, because by spring next year, they'll probably be done episode 6, so I wonder how many more updates there will be to even translate. But just the fact that by spring 2020, it'll have been like 8 years almost, because that was July 2012 when it came out. Like, whew, but people had that moment where they're watching the Microsoft press conference and they bring Sega on stage and they start playing the fucking intro music to that game.
Yeah, I was just like,
and lose their mind.
What?
So for me, that moment though was watching the Nintendo press conference, and all of a sudden they start playing the title screen music to Panzer Dragoon, and I'm like,
it was just like no way.
People freaking out over Shenmue, but that was me for Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah.
Like, the trailer didn't matter. It was just the promise of, hey, because apparently this actually, I saw a news story a while ago, like, oh, some company's doing remakes of the first 2 Panzer Dragoon games, and I was just kind of like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you kind of see that kind of news, and unless something's announced, like when .emu announced Streets of Rage 4. That's concrete, but like when you hear these rumors and shit, it's just like, maybe.
This is like a 2-word text blog or something. I'm like, okay. But now it's like, oh, they're doing the second game too, apparently.
Yes.
So hopefully this one's good, because the second game's way better.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
And then maybe if they sell well, they'll think about doing the third one. And of course not, because it's an RPG.
Sega did an incredible Afterburner game on the 360 that just basically fucking died. Like, nobody fucking played it, but it's incredible, and its sense of speed is ridiculous, and I'm wondering if maybe the same team that did...
I don't even know if this is internal Sega, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that Contra is. Contra is internal, thankfully.
Yeah, for Konami. But who is even left at Konami?
Just him.
Yeah. You said something earlier about the guy who's kind of been managing Contra since Contra 3.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, that's a nice job.
Yeah. Yeah,
you
Afterburner
make one game
Climax.
Every 6 years.
Yeah, the Jetstorm mentioned Afterburner Climax. That game's cool as fuck. And it's so fast. Yeah, that game was incredible, and fucking nobody knew about it.
I've heard of it.
I really would like, man, give me that on PC, please. I will double dip. I'll double dip and buy that again.
That's the weird thing about knowing that there's new consoles coming on the horizon. It's like, man, I like having everything on Steam. It's such a big...
Yeah,
having...
I'm kind of just done with consoles after this generation anyway. I do not care anymore. I'm not buying more boxes. Yeah. I'm not buying more boxes.
Are you going to buy the TurboGrafx Mini?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sad for me to say because I'm one of the biggest TurboGrafx fanboys. But I'm just like, man, I'd rather just have those games on my Switch.
Yeah, I would rather. Yeah. The TurboGrafx games that I would probably want to play, I can probably already play elsewhere.
Yeah. I got that Magic Engine.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
It's just the Switch is good because it's portable, you know?
Yeah,
that's the whole appeal. Nice. And to me, specifically, the PC Engine or TurboGrafx was a portable system because I had that,
you had that little fucking...
Turbo Express.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was the old version of the Switch where it's I want them to do a trailer that's just somebody popping out a game from the TurboGrafx and putting it in the Turbo Express, but it makes the Switch sound.
That would be so good. That would be incredible.
Because that's what it was for me. So it's oh yeah, I could take Airsonk on the go, and I'm like, well, I don't want the classic console and have to play them at home. I want that stuff on the go like I used to.
Yeah, Airsonk.
That's a downgrade.
Airsonk, finally, I can have poop everywhere I want it.
Okay.
I want a TurboGrafx, Rat. I want to do TurboGrafx, just like I want to Master System more. That's me.
I mean, you can get the Mini. That's a good starter point. It has the Ease games on it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which is and it doesn't have Rondo of Blood?
Well, I mean,
it's not been... The final game list hasn't been confirmed yet, obviously. Mm-hmm. But, I would really want that thing... I would want that... There are two games I would want that thing to have just for a laugh. I want it to have Rondo of Blood, and I want it to have, the Valis games.
Oh, boy. I think Valis will get on there. You know why Rondo of Blood is, should be easy for it? Because Konami's the one publishing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really the funny thing, is, this thing kind of comes out of nowhere, and everybody kind of forgot that, oh, wait, Konami has all of the Hudson properties.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they forgot.
Also remember that Rondo just sold on a $20 collection that was just Rondo and Symphony. Mm. That was recent. That's why it's also not on the Castlevania collection. Right. So it makes a little bit of sense.
It should be on the TurboGrafx Mini though, because
it should be. That's the reason. If it isn't, that's why I would imagine.
It's not in the Konami or the Castlevania collection though.
It is not.
That's because unfortunate. Because with the Contra collection, it makes sense to cut it off where they did.
Yeah.
Because after that, you're kind of having to skip the PS1 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited about Saga.
That made me happy. Saga.
And I don't think that me or Rhett, for a second, we're going to pretend that we weren't there day one for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah. Cool. A while ago, Amazon did 20% off pre-orders if you were a Prime member.
Mm-hmm.
So I pre-ordered the Final Fantasy VII Remake when they ended that program, but you could keep the bonus as long as you had something pre-ordered.
Yeah, I got it for $39.99.
So they emailed me the other day, hey, we've updated the release date, March 3rd, 2020, and I'm like, hey, cool, you're still honoring it.
Yeah, they always honor their pre-order guarantees.
Yeah,
so
but it's just funny because
the lowest.
Because that's been sitting as December 31st, 2019 for over a year now. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, sure it is.
And they showed that off. Square did.
Really good.
Man, like they've clearly like there's definite nods to the Final Fantasy 15 battle system, but this looks way more tight. Like it looks tightened up a lot.
Yeah.
Good. It'll be hard not to be tighter.
You've hated Final Fantasy 15's combat though, so I hope this does work more for you.
They played through the first part of Midgar they did the whole they redid that entire Guard Scorpion fight from the start of the game and blown it out into this big 5 minutes crazy 5 minutes
that
of
looks
craziness.
So fucking ridiculous. They pretty much showed the whole thing in their press conference where I see people in the chat like, this fight was 1 minute long in the original and it's taking 6 minutes of a press conference and it's edited. Like, what the hell?
It's so good though.
And it's just, this seems like such an indulgent remake.
Oh, and I love the fact that they're just indulging in it. Like, just do it. Yeah. Just go fucking
make
all
Midgar
in.
A whole game.
That's what they're doing. That's literally what they're doing.
God.
2 fucking Blu-rays to pull this off.
Hey. You know what I will say though? You know what did make me mad?
What's that?
Made a bunch of take-havers come out saying that Final Fantasy VII After Midgar sucks. I saw people specifically say the Nibelheim stuff was boring.
Are you full
and
of
not
shit?
The best part of the game. Fuckers. So.
Oh god. Man, that yeah. I'm not even gonna pretend that wasn't something I was already excited about, but when I saw it, I was just like, oh yeah, I am really glad I went ahead and locked that in. That Resident Evil 2 remake and Final Fantasy 7 remake were kind of just already these are no-brainers and I'm getting them day one. But just finally seeing it in action was great.
You said Resident Evil 7 remake and Final Fantasy 2 remake?
That's
very funny because I'm so there for the Final Fantasy 2
remake. I want a Final Fantasy 2 remake that's just as blown out as Final Fantasy 7.
5 parts.
Yeah,
the whole ice cave is now 6 hours long.
Madonna Colleen, Madonna Colleen in the chat brings up a good point. The pacing of this is going to be real weird.
Yeah,
it's going to be years before this is finished. We are on a Trails-like expedition.
It's a story we already know is the weird thing.
Yeah. It's a story we already know, but...
Sorry, the real killer is that we're not seeing the sequels on PS4.
Yeah. They say that they are optimizing it for both, though. They say that they're in for the long haul, so... I
can't imagine,
I don't see it myself. I do
2022 or something,
I do see a breaking
PS4
point.
game.
I'm gonna just choose to go by what they've said at this point and say, all right, you said it, I'll hold you to it, but I don't trust you.
It's not what is it? Did Persona 5 still came out on PS3 here?
Yeah.
But that's obviously not pushing the fidelity that this is.
No, obviously not. No.
I just imagine when they're on part 2 or even 3, they're gonna drop PS4.
Yeah.
If those new consoles sell well, which they probably will.
Yeah, and they'd be real dumb to leave that money on the table and not port to PC.
Is this not really confirmed for PC?
It's not confirmed. PS4 is all they're committing to right now.
So you know what they're gonna do though? They're gonna do what they did with 15. And just do it later to get people to buy it again.
Yeah, I can see that.
Is 15 coming to PC?
15's been on PC.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's been on PC since last year.
Man, they fucked that version up too because they promised mod support and then when they canceled all the DLC, they were also like, "Oh, also no mod support. Bye."
That game had a long life. I think
that game saga is
pass
so
away
weird.
Now.
Yeah.
It's time to let old things die.
Final Fantasy 15 had a rough life.
Oh god, someone in the chat says Final Fantasy Remake Epic Store exclusive.
Oh wow. Man. Oh god. Yeah, speaking of E3 conferences, the PC press conference that was just literally, hey, here's everything coming to fucking Epic Game Store, and everybody in chat being like, hey, how about you fuck off?
Oh, that's true. There's a new Tales of, right?
Yes, there is a new Tales of Arise, whose initial marketing always looked like Persona 5 marketing to me.
It looks pretty though.
It does. It does.
Like I remember, I played a bit of Berseria, and I was like, "Oh, this kind of looks like Neptunia."
Yeah, Berseria definitely showing that engine's age.
Yeah. So then when I played Ys 8, I was like, "Oh, this looks way better. What the hell?" But Arise was like, "Okay, this looks really nice, actually."
Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else for E3?
What else should I be excited about?
What else?
Y'all use your judgment.
God.
Mario Maker 2.
Mario Maker 2.
Yeah,
they finally announced that they are going to patch in the ability to play with your friends. But it'll be a post-launch thing though.
I didn't hear about people being mad about that. I heard about people being mad about that before I learned that there was going to be co-op in the game anyway. So I was like, oh, okay.
You had a weird bumpy road for that one.
I just want to play Red's games. I've got a couple friends getting it. I just want to play their games.
Right. And of course the Mana remakes that are coming out.
Yeah.
Those are Trails of Mana. What is it?
I keep going
it's Trials.
Trials.
Go ahead.
Secretive Trials of Mana Mana Trials Fantasy.
Well, that collection is already out. The actual ROMs from the old games, like it's Final Fantasy Adventure, Secret of Mana, and Trials of Mana.
Yeah, like that just dropped like during the Nintendo press conference.
Yeah.
Like that was just like, oh, here it is.
And Contra was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh. I keep going like, maybe Secret wasn't that bad. And then I'm just like, maybe no games I dislike ever were actually bad. Maybe I don't know anything. Maybe what? Like, I always get like a crisis when I think about Secret.
Well, now you can try Final Fantasy VIII again. Because they found the source code for that shit and are re-releasing it again.
Right. That got a remaster.
Look, I'm all for games preservation, so I'm not going to shit on it getting a remake. I'm just saying I don't like that game.
Yeah. It's a lot.
That was the one I allowed myself to be snarky about. I just went, fuck off.
Yeah, just kind of like, okay, whatever. It's like, whatever.
So
like, nothing's going to bring that press conference down at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like, just whatever.
I think my thing with FF8 is like, I played that whole game, that 40-hour game, without losing momentum. I just blazed through the whole thing, and that's pretty amazing for any 40-hour game.
Yeah.
But I also didn't connect with any of the characters
at all.
I remember.
So that's one good thing and one very bad thing.
I just remember going so super hard on that game when I played it as a kid, and then feeling absolutely nothing when I beat it.
Yep.
And then starting a new game.
Yep.
And like doing the first hour again, and then it was just like, what am I doing?
Exactly.
Like,
I did that too.
I'm looking for something that's just not here, and I had to stop.
I even did the fucking bullshit Omega weapon fight where all it does is give you a little check mark on your file. I was like, wow, why'd I do that?
It's a lot. I think that
it's cool that there's a lot of really cool shit coming out, and a lot of people are excited for. Because you know what I like? I like it when people are excited and expressing joy about games and not fucking being goddamn downer asshats about games all the time. I'm glad that there's Pokemon for people out there that want Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh man, Polly, people are so mad about Pokemon.
Oh, I know. They're real pissed. They're real pissed.
It's not the best example there.
Not the best example.
I think I struck a nice balance there.
It's not the best example, but you know what? They're still gonna buy it.
Oh, yep. I think I struck a nice balance there because I tried not to, because I still have a good amount of anger with Nintendo about the emulation stuff, and I think I was like happy and listened to people and listened to the joy while also articulating things when I got pressed a little bit.
Oh, Polly, now is the time to put that image
Now's the time to throw that image up.
Such a good image.
Yeah, it really
Thank you, Rhett.
There we go. These are all legitimate John Thayer tweets, by the
way. Capitalism is the enemy of art, and corps aren't our friends. Cyberpunk 2019.
I mean, it's true.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. Where's the lie?
Point to me the lie.
But also, if you say it loudly all the time, it would get a little tiresome.
Yeah.
Because there are a couple friends like that, and it does like, okay, but I do want to play. It's like, play Saga.
Yeah, like, can I just enjoy a thing, please?
It's just hitting the right balance.
Exactly. I think that's
But they're not putting all the Pokemon in.
They're not putting all the national decks in. I want to collect all 1,200 Pokemon.
Hashtag bring back the national decks.
Hashtag.
Where's the change.org petition? I'll sign it.
There really is one.
There probably is. I wouldn't doubt it.
I've seen them.
I just don't know what the end goal is. Like, okay, if they do that and delay the game a year, are you happy then?
Why do you care? Why do you want to bring all the Pokemon in? Just play with the new Pokemon.
My Squirtle.
Dexit! Hashtag Dexit! Yes!
We're done.
We're done! That's it! That is a podcast!
Oh my god.
Hey! I say when it's done.
I know, John. I can't help it.
I will say, I think we're done.
You think we're done?
Hashtag Dexit.
That's amazing.
Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Madam Colleen. That was a good stinger for an end.
Yep. All right. Everyone, life is good, and I'm glad that you all came out here today. I had a nice time chatting.
I had a really good time, yes.
Yeah. I feel good. I'm going to finish putting together this godforsaken fucking table. It took my fingers hurt from trying to screw in screws. It sucks, and then I'm gonna make it early, so it's gonna be okay. And then I have to take out all this cardboard to the dumpster outside. It's a pain in the.
It's so laborious.
But you know what? Yeah, I had the bright spot of my day of talking with all of you, so I think it's okay. I think that's gonna be a trademark of the John Cast, is that we just end on notes of wonderful positivity.
Don't we always? Didn't we always? Didn't the Sockscast always end on good notes?
It does end on those. It does end on the wonderful note of us telling you all that we are the podcast that loves you. We are the only ones that love you.
And I'm going to take the reins back now. Of course, it's for the stream. I've got to thank. I got to thank Tinker Gemini, who's been very generous over the course of this podcast and a source of me having to stifle a lot of laughter.
Yes, thank you so much, Zach.
Of course, everybody that came out, we appreciate you hanging out with us this fine evening. You've all been a wonderful audience. We do this every couple of weeks or so, you know, that's what we do. Thanks for the cheers. Thanks for the subs. It has been very much appreciated as well. I'm going to look for host to throw you all off over to, and then we're gonna get going because it's starting to storm, and I don't want to lose the recording. So,
yeah.
So that'd be real bad if that happened. So, you know what? My good friend Crit Rocket Runner, he's working on Nescathlon Practice. That is a gauntlet of 10 video games for the NES that people will be speeding through in July. He's working on Practice. He's a really cool dude. He's also Skeletor. So everybody go over there and say hi to my good friend Crit Rocket Runner. And we will catch you on the next episode. Y'all, thanks again for coming out.
Same time next week, Rhett will be playing Unlimited Saga on this channel.
Yeah, Rhett will be playing Unlimited Saga right on this channel.
Yep.
Y'all take care.
Love y'all.
Bye.